for you to show you just what happened. So we'll get to that. Lots of news to report here. Dave Lefebvre moving up the leaderboard, and Steve Kennedy as well. Cliff Crochet to start this day early, way up the leaderboard, having dropped a little bit. Ditto Bradley Roy, Kevin Van Dam making a move, a slight move, coming up the leaderboard. Lots of stuff going on. This is the day when things are popping, apparently.
It really is, and I love it when a plan comes together, because we talked this morning, a lot of different guys doing a lot of different things, but we basically guaranteed there'd be some quality fish caught this afternoon, and Brent Ehrler is definitely getting that done.
Exactly what happened when we were at break. This was literally within the last hour. Brent Ehrler already has 5 in his live well, if you just joined us, making a huge call during our intermission.
Look at that.
And as if that wasn't enough,
it doesn't get any better than this. You know, you said there'd be a bunch of Texas guys, good old Texas guys. Love to see him flipping that thick brush. I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't get any better than that for an old South Carolina guy, that's for sure.
And not only that, you're looking at a guy that was worried yesterday if he could catch a keeper again in this area.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our Humminbird lay of the lake. Lake Conroe has proven to be quite the playing field for the World Championship of Bass Fishing today. Lay it out for us, Z.
Exactly right. We're kind of coming from north to south. A lot of anglers fishing on the upper end, and it was said coming into this tournament that upper end would not sustain the beating that it's taken. So far, Davey Height, that is not the truth for Brent Ehrler.
It's not the case, but Brent Ehrler was able to take lead of this tournament yesterday up there, but it did not get the pressure because of the wind that we all thought it would the first day. Tomorrow will be the day to watch if he can sustain what he's done so far. But Brent Ehrler is a tremendous fisherman. If anybody can get it done up there, he certainly can.
Heading all the way down to the bottom of Lake Conroe there, 45 miles down, Interstate 45, headed toward the third biggest city in the United States. That is our host city of Houston, Texas, the Bayou City, just inside from Galveston Bay in the Gulf of Mexico. Great sports town right in the center of it all. We got our sport right in the center of everyone's attention in Texas today. That's a great feeling for the sport of bass fishing today. You see all these great places. You see Minute Maid Park there, home of the Astros. Later today, that's where we bring you the weigh-in for the second day of the Geico Bassmaster Classic. In the lower left of your screen there, the George R. Brown Convention Center and the Expo, the Bassmaster Classic Expo, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. As you can see, it's always a crowded place because it is a coming together for everyone connected with the sport of bass fishing, the fans, everyone else. It's old home week for bass fishing. This exciting place to be.
We felt like coming to Houston and coming to the state of Texas, we'd have awesome crowds, but you never really know. There's never been a Bassmaster Classic fully in the state of Texas. Yep. It's certainly not disappointing. This place has gotten crazy in the last hour.
No doubt about it. And really, here's been, if you're just joining us right now, here's really been the story of the entire day. It started with, shots across the bow from Edwin Evers, absolutely lighting them up on that early shad spawn and making slow upgrades. And interestingly enough, my partner in crime, Davey Height, when we watched Edwin Cullen, he's like, I think he's got a little bit more than 20 pounds. Well, yep. That exact situation right now is happening with Brent Ehrler out there. If you look at those two massive culls that he made while we were at intermission, same thing. We got up in the set and we were sitting there looking at those culls and we said, I kind of think he's got a little more than 18 and a half pounds.
So we have established that. They've both sandbagged a little bit, but it is becoming a two-horse race.
All right, time for our Toyota Midday Report. Midday today is the midway point of the Geico Bassmaster Classic. And the big story this morning, Brent Ehrler with the lead to start this day, but the big story to start this day was Edwin Evers. Edwin Evers, who had a quick start on day number 1 and then had a slower afternoon, a huge start on this day.
And really, here's been his game plan the last 2 days. He has that shad spawn bite going in the morning, and amazingly enough, his bass track doesn't work ever until they register every single fish catch in the first hour. There might be a glitch. We'll look in that tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
After that, he goes into Walden Marina and makes slow upgrades this morning. The other side of that is he has spent a lot of time in here, Davey Height, and he has looked for one in particular big one each day so far.
He has, and then later in the day, he's moved out. He's done it again today. He's got a plan. He's doing 3 different things. In the morning, the shad spawn, he goes and sight fishes for a little while, and then moves out on the main lake. We talked about it before this event ever started. We thought the person that won this event would have multiple things going on. He's got 3 very distinct things going on.
He's got the most going on that's working.
And the thing that's awesome to me is a lot of guys had that plan but haven't been able to capitalize on it.
Well, here's the guy who's trying to get the best of the defending Geico Bassmaster Classic champ, Brent Ehrler. Did it yesterday by putting an almost 10-pound bass in his boat.
No doubt about it, Tommy Sanders. And look, I'm staring out here in the crowd here at the Expo looking at I'm talking about Texas flipping hands, right?
Oh, man.
Now, if you would have told them that this tournament was going to get, well, potentially won just flipping what Ehrler calls sticks. It's not even your typical brush.
It's not. He called it sticks. It's trees that grew up. They're not willows. They would be alive, because we couldn't quite figure out what he was talking about yesterday when he said sticks. But it's trees that grew up when the water was low that aren't able to survive when they get flooded, so they die. And that's what these fish are using to spawn in. And then after the spawn, a bite he had earlier today, he said that the fish followed out a little bit, was probably a fish garden fry.
I want you to talk about real quick with Ehrler as he's making these upgrades throughout the day, how critical he said the wind yesterday pinned him in where he couldn't move around as much. Explain that.
The reason I was able to understand exactly what he said, I've been in that situation before. We didn't realize it in here. The wind never got over about 5 miles an hour, but it blew 25 to 30 miles an hour there yesterday, and the water's so shallow, and you get 2-foot waves and 2.5 feet of water, you can't move around. The boat's hitting the bottom, you're hitting stumps, all that sort of stuff. So it's hard to imagine a guy up there that far in that seemed to be protected, but the wind blew out of the south. It was blowing from the dam all the way up there where he was. And really, although he led the tournament yesterday, it should have been his worst day.
And the other side of it is, if you really look at a lot of the tournaments, getting down to technique stuff, whenever there's heavy wind in brush, in Louisiana, in Texas, those fish do not bite as well. I'm going to tell you right now, the survival day so far in this tournament was Brent Ehrler yesterday, because he basically outfished everybody in that area.
There was a lot of good fishermen around him I have seen in the background. I mean, some really, really good fishermen. Here's something I learned at the break. You know, we walk around in the Expo and people come up, want to take some pictures and do something. Well, they also want to show you some pictures. I saw a picture that a lady showed me. She caught a 9-pounder Wednesday. Didn't want to go out there and bother them while they're competing. Right around where Brent Ehrler's
fishing. She must be showing it off, because I saw it too when I left here.
Okay. Take a look at this list right here. We're talking about the strength of this field. We always say it's the best field ever in the Classic, because in most cases it is year to year, year over year, the best ever in the Classic. Look at the number of multiple Classic winners that there are existing in the world. A lot of them, half of them are in this field here today. Those are the guys, starting with Billy Murray, the winner of the first one back in
Could Edwin be the next?
1971. Edwin might well be the next. You got to hand it to him right here, what he's done at this one to lay the foundation to be ready to strike on the final day.
Got a quad box going right here.
Yes,
Cliff
sir.
Crochet, Brent Ehrler, Bradley Roy, talking about it, Mike Iaconelli, probably the most critical image in that quad box. Mike Iaconelli abandoning his offshore deal, and he said, if I do not get bid, I will not hesitate to go up Conroe and get to work shallow. Well, you can tell that offshore deal that Iaconelli excelled at yesterday is gone.
It's so interesting, this sport, to watch, guys. Yesterday, he looked like the Mike Iaconelli that everybody has learned to know and love, almost invincible on the big stage. And today, he's shown that he's human so far, but got a lot more fishing to do.
You know what was weird is we were talking about some of our interviews, our post-weigh-in interviews yesterday. For Iaconelli being in the top 5, he didn't have a lot of...
True.
You know what I mean? He said, look, guys, I had 7 bites all day long. But something has happened, at least today with the anglers that we've covered on Conroe, something has happened with that deep water bite being Bradley Roy, Iaconelli, Clifford Perch, who we thought was going to come out and dominate, that offshore bite has gone away.
To see Cliff Combs struggle as much as he did yesterday, there was something wrong with it yesterday. There was just a few guys that really figured him out and were able to get those 6 or 7 bites. But as well as Keith Combs knows his place, and as hard as he fished yesterday, you had to know it wasn't quite happening there yet. Maybe in a week or two, but it's not quite yet.
I'm looking at potentially going into the final day, if you were to start the weigh-in right now, you're looking at the top 12 all being shallow water fishermen. Fair?
Yes.
The only one that's still trying to keep it honest right now is Bradley Roy. He's the only one in there.
You see last year's Rookie of the Year, Drew Benton, moving up into the top 7, knocking on the door of the top 6 there. He's a guy that said before this, I don't know what everybody's talking about having trouble. I'm seeing 30-pound bags everywhere sitting out there. So this guy may be coming into his own this afternoon. There's a lot of possible scenarios going on here.
I bet I know what he's doing.
Oh, I think, yeah.
He's
I think
great,
you're onto something there.
Great sight fisherman.
He really is.
And I'll tell you what you know, our Rapala top 5 tomorrow is going to have to sustain the beating Edwin is going to lay down again tomorrow. And here's the other side of that is Edwin has been catching that 18 to 20 pounds, obviously relatively quick. You might spend a little more time on that tomorrow morning. You know what I mean?
Since we haven't been able to see exactly what he's doing, I'm going to be a little hesitant. It could all be an early morning thing, the shad spawn, and he can't keep doing it because it just goes away. But it's very likely that he's saving those fish. The reason I say that you could very well be right, even during a shad spawn, it's hard to catch fish on back-to-back-to-back casts. You usually have to keep moving with those groups of shad. And we did hear from a Marshall or Robbie, somebody told us it was around Edwin this morning, said that he at one point caught fish, I think on 3 consecutive casts. That's unusual for just your normal shad spawn going down the break walls and catching them that way.
We gave you kind of an abbreviated version of what's happened up to now in this this day number 2 of the Geico Bassmaster Classic. Hopefully, if you're doing the chores this morning, you got them all wrapped up now because it's going to be some good stuff coming up this afternoon. We want you all join in. Communicate with us if you'd like. We got lots of ways to do that. We'll get to that in just a moment or two. Brent Ehrler right there. You know, when you think about it, he told us yesterday, he said, look, if I got a lot of people following me around, I'm not even going to go to this place right here. Boy, did he make the right decision, I'd say.
He did, and a lot of guys I don't think followed him today, even though he was leading, because he was going so far, and a lot of folks don't want to run up in that shallow water with a brand new boat and all that sort of thing. I got news for him. They're going to follow him tomorrow.
Well, I would think so. I would say that, you know, the 2 bullseye tomorrow, you're looking at Edwin Evers and Brent Ehrler at this point. But I thought the best line yesterday after the weigh-in was Ehrler saying, you think there's any chance they would just go follow Iaconelli and Van Dam and leave me alone? I'm like, no, I really don't.
First time ever on Lake Conroe for the Bassmaster Classic, for these Bassmaster Elite Series guys. They compose 41 of the 52 anglers in the field here. A lot of them, though, off the record, have a lot of experiences
I'm going to throw one to you, Davey. I'm going to throw one to you real quick. It says 18-12 for Ehrler right now, which I'm going to say we're a little bit off on that, but I'm just a little bit low. At what point do you think Ehrler says maybe it's time I expand on this and leave this primary deal alone? Here's what I'm saying is a 4.5 pounder is going to mean a heck of a lot more tomorrow than it is right now.
Yep. Well, that's a great question, and what I would do in his shoes, if there's boats around me that I think if I leave they're going to fish it and catch that 4-pounder, then I'm going to probably stay there. But if I leave and no one else is going to fish it, then I would leave it probably right now. What about you, Tommy?
Well, you're talking to the right guy here.
Hey, Such.
Absolutely.
Such,
yeah, I'm
real
all
quick.
gone.
Such, you over there, bud? Come on, get in the. Hey, Such.
Hey, Such.
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 There he is.
Such. Hey, Such, how you doing?
Real quick, you're able to take a look at the mapping and the bass track. Does Ehrler have a lot of company where he's at?
While he's looking that one up, I want to tell you right now, we do want you to join in the conversation. Be a part of it. We want to hear from you. Everybody joining in. We're all on the same team when it comes to being Classic fans. Hashtag Bassmaster Classic. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
Hashtag
I think you
Bassmaster
came
Classic.
up with that, as a matter of fact, didn't you?
Yeah. And not only that, throw some pictures up.
Yeah, why not?
Throw some
We'd love to
pictures.
see your pictures. How are you enjoying the Classic?
Saw a picture of a 9-pounder caught earlier in the week. Let's see some more.
Such is checking.
What?
All right, we're trying to stay in touch with someone else very, very important to our efforts here, and that's Robbie Floyd. Robbie Floyd on the water. It's
Bob
roving
Floyd.
reporter online. Bob Floyd, you say? Okay. Oh, he's not? Okay. This is our Triton on the line. It's a telephone conversation with Robbie. Robbie, what's the story on Edwin right now? When did he move to this spot right here?
This spot right here, he probably moved about 5-10 minutes ago, and he was another spot that looked just like it for about 10 to 20 minutes before that. So he's gone away from the night fishing stuff, and I talked to him a minute ago when he was in that marina, and he said, yeah, he had some places offshore to look at. So this looks like, those keep home kind of spots. Now, he doesn't know that the guys aren't catching them offshore today, so he's going to those things the same way that, that we're expecting those offshore guys to catch them. He just doesn't know they're biting. Now, he did catch, a catfish earlier, up against the break wall, but nothing's really happened out here. And we've got a live camera. I can't see the exact bait he's throwing. I can tell at times it's been white, but I know he's in a hump. There's like a channel swing that comes out here, but some definite water variants, but some, brush piles and, just different change in the water. I actually pre-fished with Alton Jones not too far from here, and he was concentrating more on those bulkheads.
Hey, Bob, real quick out there, you've been with him the majority of the morning into the afternoon. One of the things that was said was going to be a big hurdle for these guys, especially on the weekend, was going to be spectator boat traffic. What have you seen so far?
Let me count really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. About 20 boats are following him right now. But one of the constables, actually, we pulled up next to him earlier, and he didn't know, that we were with the ESPN stuff. And he said, man, it's amazing how much respect that the spectators are giving the anglers. And he didn't know that was Edwin Evers. He saw everybody pile in that marina. He thought it was really cool, but he thought that it was awesome that everybody's giving him so much room. And again, he didn't know we were following the possible leader or top 3 guys, but he's just seen it as a whole. He's been really impressed. In years past, we'd probably see double the amount of people. That's not to say we won't see tomorrow, but there's been double the amount. It was at least 3 times this many people on Jason Christie last year in a much, much, much tighter area.
Robbie, you talked about him abandoning the side fishing thing. Back in the marina there, did he lay out what he just wasn't seeing the ones he expected to be there?
No, and he caught a small one. The one that we saw him catch, that one didn't keep. That showed you the size that he had.
Yep.
And talking personally, yeah, I think he does have over 20. I think he's probably 22, 23 range, to be honest. And I've got his observer in my boat now. And he was just talking about how unbelievable it was before I made it to him, just how he was catching them. He said, man, that Edwin Evers pretty high strung. And I'm like, yes and no. But when you're catching them like that, he expected to catch them. I just don't think he really expected to catch that size today. I thought he was looking at, that 15 pounds like you saw yesterday. But you could see that massive weight off of his shoulders. What I'm hearing you talk about the struggles of all these guys. How do you think it feels to be Edwin Evers right now, knowing you've got 23 in there and you can go offshore, and if you don't catch nothing, you still caught an awesome bag today?
If you can, Bob, walk us through what his observer watched the first hour of competition this morning.
His observer he's from Minnesota, but he was just, I think he said that Edwards was amazed, but I think he was more shocked than anybody because you just saw him hammer one after another, and he was impressed. He said he caught them back-to-back casts, but still the other casts, he was catching them, and I think it really impressed him, and it is cool. That's one of the good things about being the observer. Who were we with yesterday? With Jared Linder? Yeah, he was with Jared Linder yesterday, and he was talking about some of the things that he was doing, and he said that he caught, 30, 50 fish? About 40 fish yesterday, Jared Linder did. He just wasn't around the size. He saw a lot of 14s or 15s, and typically that's a great thing. And, for an average guy that's going fishing, that's an unbelievable day. But we know this is the Bassmaster Classic, and you can't get by with 15-inch fish.
Robbie Floyd, thanks for giving up your camera. We can't see you, but we can see Edwin. I think that's a good trade-off. And thanks for our Triton Online interlude there. with Robbie Floyd out there working hard today. He'll have more for us a little bit later on. We're going to move off of Edwin and Robbie in the background there, move up the lake just a little bit. Well, actually a pretty good ways. Not too far from Brent Ehrler is where we now find Mike Iaconelli.
That might be the fish that lets me fish on Sunday anyway. Probably need one more. Right. Keeper bite of the day. All these hours later. That line jumped. It scared me. I was laughing. That scared me. That bite scared me. Feeling this thinner, outside thinner stuff, huh? Not up, outside.
Boy, not too much to smile about until now today for Michael Iaconelli.
Fish number one.
First fish of the day.
You heard Iaconelli talking right there. That fish and one more possibly will get me fishing on Sunday. Way different tone here on the second day of the Bassmaster Classic, and a slide back down the lake right now with Bradley Roy, also struggling with a couple keepers in the live well.
Come here.
Oh, it's bigger than that. Hoping he's long. Barely. They're all short, fat. It's number 4. About the same deal, 2 1/4, 2 1/2.
Bradley Roy with 4 fish and not even bumping up on 10 pounds yet. His numbers from yesterday are definitely not there.
They're not there. Those guys said they weren't getting a lot of bites. I certainly believe them. The one that did say he was getting a lot of bites, Clifford Perch, is the one that seems to be so surprising to me.
Lost on that. I'm as lost on the Clifford Perch situation right now as I was with Combs yesterday.
I want to take note of something just a minute ago. Iaconelli caught his first fish, correct? I think it was his first one of the day.
Right.
Doing something totally different. And if I'm sure you guys did, but maybe not everyone noticed. When he stood up, he made a pitch. He talked about the bite, how the fish bit. My line really jumped. Tells me aggressive. But then he said, sparse stuff, thin. He looked around a little more, outside. The whole key to catching bass, patterning bass, is to get that first bite.
Duplicating what just
Until you
happened.
get that first bite, you can't. You're just guessing, doing a whole lot of guessing, educated guesses from experienced guys. But the thing that I see people, and I've done it before in my career, hopefully learned a little later on. But when you do finally get that one bite, don't just jump up and not slow down. Look, sparse, not thick, outside, not inside, and then go try to duplicate it. And hopefully it leads you to another bite, and that's how you change your day.
I want you to look how different those 4 images are right there.
Yep.
Bradley Roy dragging around a Carolina rig offshore, Edwin cranking offshore. You've got Ehrler in the thickest brush, at least that we've seen so far, and Iaconelli, what you're saying.
To add to what I just said, sometimes you get that lost leader, the stray goose, that will lead you right in the wrong direction. Ehrler is obviously fishing thick brush.
Explain that.
Well,
explain how a fish like Iaconelli found can get you
it can be just like the 6-pounder he caught yesterday led him to have a great day. When you get your first bite, you can't put all your eggs in that one basket. It certainly gives you something to go on, and you can look, he's on the outside right now. He caught the fish 10 minutes ago. Sparse stuff. You do that for a while, but then how long do you stick with it? Because I think he just caught a lost leader. The stray goose.
The free radical.
The one you don't want to follow. Yes. We'll see. The one thing I will say that gives me an idea whether it's something I need to spend a little more time on, because I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, how long does he chase that one bite? The bigger the fish, the more faith I put in it's the right deal. The 6-pounder he caught yesterday, I'm feeling real good that's not
it's not a fluke.
It's not a fluke, right. The smaller the fish, the less faith I put in it.
You know, one thing we said when we came back from break, looking at the ones that Ehrler has caught throughout this day and yesterday. If you looked at that giant that he caught yesterday, post-spawn fish. And we're, look, I'm sure there's some fish in there that are still spawning and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, I know Brent, I know him well enough where in his head right now he's starting to think, gosh, are there 5 more in here for tomorrow? Are there 5 more in here of that caliber to do this?
I think so, because of what he's fishing. Another little note, when we're able to see all 4 guys and get a good picture like we got now, you can just read into so much. Look at not just what Iaconelli's fishing, it jumps out at you, thick versus sparse. There's a reason for that too. If a lot of folks, depth finders from old, wouldn't register very well in that shallow water. Thankfully, the new Humminbirds do. But just without even looking at your graph, Ehrler is right up against some really thick brush, which tells me there's more of a slope, more of a contour. And the reason it grew really thick because of that contour and that edge is because there's a ditch there and there was water for those plants, those trees, those sticks to grow. Iaconelli, where it's sparse, there was grass, there was a few bushes. It's flat.
Z, I know you didn't have time to have lunch, but we're going to feed you a little something right now.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am. Some
Please
big
do,
CPAC
old friend.
tires and wheels trivia, classic
Are
style.
we going CPECing?
Yes, we are.
Let's go, friend.
CPECing. I like that. Big CPAC tires and wheels, Bassmaster Classic trivia as we look inside the stadium there at Minute Maid Park. That's where our weigh-in comes from this afternoon. Dave Mercer getting ready to crank that thing up here in about 3.5 hours. The Houston Astros have a long-standing rivalry with the Texas Rangers, of course. What is the nickname of this series? Is it the Bluebonnet Series, the I-45 Series, the Texas Series, or the Lone Star Series? Our Texas fans probably already know that one, but all the rest of you out there in these United States of ours, you can take your guess. We'll take a quick break right here, get back to the really already having heated up second day action at the Geico Bassmaster Classic. Coming back in just a few minutes, and we will join you then.
The 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is brought to you by Berkley, Hook, Humminbird, Mercury, Minn Kota, and by Nitro Boats.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Eat, sleep, fish. A motto all Skeeter owners live by, with 16 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy Save Fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Visit us for all the details at the Expo Center, booth 1225. Champions aren't born. They're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
Now for your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, we call it sea-pecking. In 1958, Dick Seapeck wrote the book. He was the creator of the original adventure tire. Dick Seapeck has a complete line of adventure tires and wheels. As the originator, Dick Seapeck knows what you need. Tires engineered for adventure, traction, reliability, and durability. If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, oh yeah, you're sea-pecking now. Dick Seapeck tires, proudly made in the good old USA.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
It's the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, being brought to you live by Berkley.
Oh, we are not too far. We've got plenty of fishing, but not too far from our classic weigh-in day number 2, the Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, coming to you from Minute Maid Park, home of the Houston Astros, formerly the Houston Colt 45s back in the day. And it is a showcase of a place, one of the great sports venues in the world, and we got it for the Bassmaster Classic, the weigh-in coming up today. You definitely want to tune that in. 5:30 p.m. is when we, Eastern time, and we'll get that cranking for you. Dave Mercer, we'll get that towel spinning around, and we will have the crowd whipped into a frenzy. There's no question about that. Meanwhile, back on Lake Conroe, that's where it's all going on. Hey,
Tom.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a favor?
Yes, sir.
Can we go sea-pecking?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Please?
Darn right we will.
Thank you.
We got some unfinished business here. Here's the question. The Astros have a long-standing rivalry with the Rangers. What's the nickname of this series? I think I know that one.
I'm going to let Davey take a stab at that one first.
I'll go C.
I'm going to go D.
I'm going C as well.
What?
Okay.
Z, you're right.
Say it again.
You are correct,
Lone
Mr.
Star
Zona.
Series,
The
bud.
Lone Star Series.
Come on,
We were
wake up,
wrong.
guys.
We were wrong, you and
Suits,
I.
that was the best question of the Classic so far. By far.
That's the only one you got
Best
right,
one.
by the way.
I worked on that one all night. That's one of my specialties. I heard that from a friend I went to college with. He's in the oil industry.
God, stop. Edwin Evers, a smash-up first 2 hours of fishing here on Lake Conroe. Things have cooled for him somewhat, but not after he had done maximum damage with 20 pounds early on this day number 2 to put himself in position to run at a consecutive Geico Bassmaster Classic trophy.
He's just kind of cruising around
Hey,
right
how
now.
you doing? Good to see you over there. How old are you? Yeah, that's the Edwin Evers who feels good about what's going on here. I guarantee
you
you
can tell
that.
he's already got him in the live well.
Yeah.
He's loving the moment. He also understands how many boats have gravitated to him, why they have all come to him. He knows he's right there.
Back on the water right now, Bradley Roy, 4 in the live well. Cool thing that Bradley Roy was talking about after the weigh-in yesterday, and you guys got to see him a lot on the water when you were with Combs on Wednesday, is I asked him yesterday, I said, how much company did you have fishing around you? And he said, none. He said, the reason why is, he said, I had a lot of company fishing around me throughout last weekend's practice, Wednesday's official practice. He said, but I'm convinced they fished through them. He said, a lot of guys were trying to just they were forcing the crankbait. Winding and winding and winding, and you kind of got to see there was quite a few guys yesterday that tried to force the crankbait deal, and he said there was no doubt in my mind if you fished too fast and you were not dragging. And look, he made the comment, I know y'all are going to have a camera with me, but it's brutal. It is brutally slow to watch what I'm doing, but he said that's the key to catching these fish right now compared to the guys that winded right through here through practice.
Take a look at it. Something while we were away, we had a bad picture with Mike Iaconelli, but we did catch this, and this happened while we were on break just a moments ago. That's his second fish of the day, so that is the right direction for him. He had the day going all the way in the wrong direction, and now he's hopefully turning around a little bit.
He really did, and like you mentioned, Z, it's amazing what a difference a half a day makes. Yesterday, a lot of folks predicted that he would win this derby. He caught his first fish about 30 minutes ago, and he's thinking about at least I get to fish on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Again, we got 52 guys out there. We will cut that field down to 25 for tomorrow for the final day of the Geico Bassmaster Classic. And the bite there, a little something happening for Iaconelli. Don't want to go home.
What's amazing to me with Iaconelli right now is the one thing that he said yesterday. He was not scared to abandon completely how he caught him down near the dam and really around our takeoff site fishing offshore. And you and I kind of both thought, man, if you got a chance of winning this thing, it's going to be down there.
Yeah, you're 100% right. We both thought that. I was surprised that he said, I will abandon it and go up there. It'll be interesting to see. Bradley Roy's not going anywhere. He's going to fish slow. He's going to fish offshore. Clifford Perch, I don't think, is going to go upriver and start flipping. We'll see who makes the right decision this afternoon.
He also said there's enough up there to do damage.
Oh, yeah. Looks like he missed another one there. He's getting a few bites.
And if you talk to a lot of the locals, there's a lot of locals hanging here with us today, is Cliff Crochet said this too. He said, Man, I don't think those Sharalunkers, those 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-pound fish are as available on this upper end as they are on the lower end. Lo and behold, the biggest bass that's been caught in this tournament has been caught on that upper end.
Surprising, yep. Biggest bass by far.
Exactly.
But big ones do live on the lower end. Bradley Roy told us that he came and pre-fished before the cutoff with his dad, caught a 12-pounder. Caught a 6-pounder on that exact spot yesterday.
And if you're also just tuning in on this, you ask, you know, what are these guys concentrating offshore on this lake? You know, if you're to side image this lake, you got to do that all day with Combs. This isn't one of those offshore lakes that just has phenomenal structure all over, you know what I mean? It's really, the stuff that Bradley Roy's on, Edwin Evers, Combs, these were subtle areas, man. These offshore deals were 20 to 40 to 50 yard stretches, and I'm not talking crazy irregularities. And now don't get me wrong, Combs had probably the most extreme stuff, but it might be a series of tires adjacent to a rock pot.
One of them mentioned tires yesterday. Was it Bradley Roy?
No, it was Iaconelli.
Was it Iaconelli? Yeah, that's right.
But these areas, these offshore areas were real subtle.
They are. Subtle areas and subtle differences in presentations and baits. There's no doubt that the fishermen get better each and every year at the elite level, at the college level, at the local club tournament level. Fishermen have gotten better and better each year, but there's always one common denominator. Somebody figures a little tweak to a bait, a very isolated little spot, hard bottom, something like that. There's always just a little something that separates guys from the middle of the pack to your leaders. Yesterday, I think it was the soft plastic finesse. Bradley Roy's fishing, and Iaconelli, where he caught a lot of his places exactly like Keith Combs fish, but just with a different bait.
We're going to have Brian Robinson up here from the Minnesota Vikings in a little bit. Fishes this lake a ton. He who's been out here, and if you talk to a lot of the other guys that really spend a lot of time on this lake, they said it's so extremely hard to duplicate a pattern on this lake day to day to day. To where if you go to a Rayburn, you go to a Toledo Bend, you can run stuff. You can lock in on a technique and you can run it. Sometimes you can run it for months. It seems if you really talk to the locals around here, and I gotta guess that's due to the amount of pressure that this lake gets, that it's almost virtually impossible to lock in something for 3 straight days and that be the only thing you do. The only person that's defied that is Brent Ehrler.
And the two witnesses for the prosecution there would be, Cliff Perch and Mike Iaconelli.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We did predict it coming in, though, because the pre-spawn fish, the spawning fish, and the post-spawn fish, we talked about that. And I think most of these fishermen knew. They're all in on the game. They knew about the shad spawn. They knew about some fish that are up there to sight fish. But only a couple guys have been able to make them all happen, because when you go from playing A, B, and C, if you miss one of those, then it just wrecks everything else. If Edwin doesn't catch 15 yesterday and then go on and help his limit a little bit, he probably wouldn't even have started back there to catch his 20 today. It's hard to put all of those pieces of the puzzle together when you got that many pieces.
I guess the other surprising thing is, if you also talk to a bunch of the local guys around here, every one of them to a T has said, if one of these guys finds the offshore deal, he's going to blow it away. Every one of them that I've spoke to, every one of the locals in this tournament have said that exact same thing. None of them have said, man, if you find the right shallow water deal, you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Just the opposite. Most of them said there's no way somebody can have enough quality fish up north to win. But sometimes That's good. A lot of people overlook it because they listen to the dock talk.
Hackney was one of the anglers. Hackney was one of the anglers coming into the first day that was on that deal. That you see Brent Ehrler doing, Iaconelli, Cliff Crochet. And it's almost, from listening to Hackney, it's almost like he was trying to talk himself out of it when he found it.
Yeah.
You get wrapped up in that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pound mentality. And he said, man, I think I can only go up there and do 18 to 19 a day. And he kept selling himself. And one of the things that Hackney kept saying was, I gotta spend my practice day down near the dam. I have to spend that day down near the dam. And it was almost a case of he was selling himself out of it.
Guys, I've been checking out some of the leaders from day one that are still stuck on 0 to confirm that they are. And one of the shocking things is that Alton Jones, 8th place, Classic champ, Texan, sitting on 0 fish today. That's probably one of the most shocking things compared to, Keith Combs' day one struggle.
Have you checked that? Because I'm thinking they just don't have service. There's no way.
I just confirmed with Alton Jones' cameraman
Jeez.
that he doesn't have any fish right now. So
unbelievable.
Yeah, and he was one of the guys who caught a shad spawn deal yesterday as well as the shallow flipping deal.
Well, our live coverage going on today. We still got 2.5 or more hours, a little more than 2 hours left to go for you. Our Geico Bassmaster Classic, our Rapala 5 Live. These are the ones we're covering live all day long. 5th place, Clifford Perch, 20 pounds and 11 ounces on day one, fishing in his 4th Bassmaster Classic.
Exactly right. Clifford Perch with a very, very tough day. A big surprise to, I think, the whole panel up here sitting. Another one of our Rapala 5 Live. I'm going to call it our Rapala 5 Alive right now, Davey Height, if you don't mind me saying. Mike Iaconelli abandoning his offshore gig, going shallow, and in the last 30 minutes, making moves to an alive well.
Cliff Crochet, it's really interesting. We were a little concerned yesterday when we talked to him about if he had enough fish to go around. He had one person fishing around him, Matt Herron, showing him with 0 today. Maybe they didn't have enough.
From there, Bradley Roy, who really, of all of the anglers, he's been left alone. Yep. Said, I really have nobody around me. And as the day has progressed, granted, he does not have big ones in the live well. Bradley Roy sitting right now with 4.
Well, everyone who's not been familiar with the mastery of bass fishing of Brent Ehrler is getting an education in that. In this 47th Bassmaster Classic, the boy from Newport Beach, California, who's done so well for so many years. Former Rookie of the Year here on the Bassmaster Elite
Exactly
Series.
right.
Great job out there.
He has done such work with that title, too.
Absolutely. That kind of got things rolling for him, I would have to say. 23 pounds, including a 10-pounder on day number 1.
Something we talked about earlier this morning with Ehrler. And look, gang, if you're at home watching this on Bassmaster Live and you fish a bunch of tournaments, there's something to truly learn about what he did so far, and whether he goes on to win this or not win this. That dude was lost at Media Day.
Yep.
He said, I got a couple areas I can get a few bites in. And he goes, what am I on? He goes, I don't know. My practice sucked, but I got a couple areas that I got a few quality bites, and if I can maximize it, he goes, I may be in good shape by the end of the weekend.
I agree, and he's a guy that's going to shoot us straight. But talking to him yesterday, and you referred to this morning, he's a smart guy. And lost to him as not being 100% dialed in. When we talked to him, he said it sounded a lot better. He wasn't totally lost. He said, I can go over here and get a bite or two, but it takes me a while. And if I go on turn, I probably won't get a bite. Or I can go over here, and he had like 5 places where he had gotten a bite. Or I had 1 6-pounder, but that's all. But I have one area that I can get a few bites in, but he wasn't quite as lost as I thought he was. And he's certainly made the best of. He's got one area that has been able to produce for 2 days, and I think he'll have enough fish for 3.
Should point out Edwin Evers down there at the bottom. That's not part of our original Rapala 5 Live.
Nope.
But this is extra bonus coverage. Thank you, Rapala
It's a
representative.
Rapala Audible.
It
5
really
Live.
is. Yeah.
Rapala
Tommy
5
Sanders.
Live +1.
I'm really looking forward to the first hour tomorrow with Double Jizzle Edwin Evers to see that first hour with him.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should send a camera and a backup camera to be sure something doesn't go wrong.
A couple of drones, he'd like that.
Yeah. Looking at this picture, though, if you had to guess, if you would have been told 3 days ago, if we got these 4 guys on camera late in the day to second day, which one would you think would absolutely be flipping the sticks?
Right. And who would be the one that's fishing offshore?
Exactly.
That's a great point.
Ehrler is in the hot spot, Z. Bunch of other guys there. Kennedy, Williamson, Faircloth, and Benton were around that zone right under south of FM.
No. Let's not give it. You know, all I wanted to know was how many anglers, Such, are in that general vicinity of where he is.
5 or so, and then kind of spread out.
5 or so.
Moved a little bit, and those several of them have limits from that area. You look at the bass track, and I see colored boats, and there's 3 in that zone that have on the top 12 leaderboard.
And several of them that do look like they're going to make it to tomorrow. That's a factor in this.
And several very, very good shallow water fishermen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why you got to appreciate what Brent Ehrler's doing. He's
out fishing.
Out fishing some very, very good fishermen. He doesn't have one place all to himself, I don't think. I've seen a few people in the background that have caught him in Texas before.
What's Edwin doing? Is he sinking a brush pile right there, David? What's he got?
I think he's trying to decide where he's going to put that camera tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
On this hump? Yeah, this is deep enough.
He might be drowning a drone, for all I know. He could be doing that.
He's got his lure retriever for those that don't notice that we're just joking.
Yep. A little lost and found action right there.
Ronnie brought up such a good point a few minutes ago because I thought,
here we go.
He's just out of service. Oh.
Big one.
You're just tuning in to Bassmaster Live right now. Tomorrow we're going to be able to give the goods away. Going to really be able to start nailing down exact lures, exact weights.
They're biting.
At least of some of the 5 that we'll be covering.
Yeah. Ronnie brought up a good point a few minutes ago. 2 of the favorites that almost everyone predicted. I keep up with fantasy fishing and even join in sometimes. But 2 of the guys that were on almost everyone's top 5 list, Alton Jones and Keith Combs. And to see Keith struggle like he has yesterday and some today, and Alton Jones today, simply incredible.
Such, I'll tell you, if we do get time, hashtag Bassmaster Classic, I would, see, Tommy,
very nice.
I'd love to hear some of if somebody can get a little feedback on some of the best fantasy teams of the week, and I'd love to see some of the worst fantasy teams of the week.
You just have to look at mine for that.
Oh, hey-yo. I got the worst one. Sorry. I know that. You had some Combs on there, didn't you, Such?
Loaded up on Combs, did you?
Did not.
Yeah.
You did, didn't you, friend?
I will say that all 5 of my picks were 26th or worst.
Really?
So Hackney was the highest at 26. It kind of broke my heart.
I'd like to hear some of the best ones. I really do. I'd love to hear some of the best teams so far.
There's some serious bracket busters.
Yes.
In this deal.
I got Ehrler and Ike.
I think a pretty good choice would be your current angler of the year.
Yep.
You would think in your fantasy fishing. I'm going to guess Ronnie Moore had him.
No, I had Hackney, Martins, Montgomery, Hank Cherry, and then I had Skylar Hamilton. Because I figured there would be so many patterns in play that all those guys kind of fish a little different.
Right.
And something would get covered.
As crazy as it sounds, Ron, I know this is nuts. I had Ehrler, Evers, Lefebvre, Kennedy, and Roy. I know.
I'm calling your bluff.
You are radar. That's why I call you radar. Cliff Crochet told us yesterday, man, the dirtier the water, the better. I think it kind of bears out his preference right there, looking at the two pictures, him side by side with Ehrler there.
Crochet is in the more stained water than anyone else we've seen. Ehrler's in some stained water, but Crochet is where.
Oh, yeah.
On up the creek.
Hey, Davey, in a blog, can you address this? Jason Christie told Steve Wright that it shuts down till 1:30 or 30 or 2, that the fish are eating a lot at night with the moon phase, and it comes back on when it's time to feed again around that time. Knock it off.
You know,
the barometer.
The moon phase, the barometer, all those things certainly play factors, but it's like water temperature. It's like any other thing you think of. You can't just put all your eggs in that basket. You just got to fish, and when you get a bite, try to learn from it. What do you think, Z?
I think coming into after fishing down the road 2 hours, and granted, I was on one of the best places on planet Earth, being Gros Savon, but fishing right down the road last week, here's what I saw, and then being out on the water the other day and listening to the anglers, this time of year in this region, there is a distinct first 2 hours and there is a distinct last 3. Now, I say that with Ehrler blasting them in the middle of the day, but really, if you looked at it as a whole so far, it's an early deal and a later deal, and that's more of a time of year with region. Fair?
Yep, I agree with that.
And I know this is really strange what I'm going to say about Texas and Florida and Michigan. I know there's somebody at home, well, there's somebody home thinking I'm stupid all the time, and I'd agree with that, Tom, is there's something about this state and Florida that those big ones, man, like Sun. If you look at Falcon, if you look at a lot of these lakes, it almost seems like when it gets cloudy and windy, it shuts down some of these bodies of water in Texas and Florida and stuff like that. And when you get calm and sun and warm, it gets them big ones moving.
I agree with that. Some states, for whatever the reason, maybe it's the moon, the way it shines on certain states.
But you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. A lot of places, clouds and wind really help the bite. And then there's some places, I totally agree with the states you said, I've seen it happen. Man, they just like sun.
You get high pressure, no wind on a lot of lakes in Texas and Florida, and it just turns it on at times.
Yep. Well, the reason Florida, it makes sense in Florida so much more than the other states, in my opinion, is all the decayed vegetation. We talked about it a lot at Okeechobee, Tommy. It's
natural lakes.
Yep. Yeah. That water being stirred up is not necessarily a good thing at all, because I don't think they like to breathe it.
Guys, we just had a big fish come across Bass Track. Jordan Lee, first fish of the day, 6.5 pounder. Kind of shocking to see him get his first this late, but that is a pretty good one to start your day with.
And if you look at Bass Track right now, for the majority of the field right now way, way tougher than yesterday.
There's only 5 to 6 limits so far.
Which would have put us where compared to yesterday?
Oh, I mean, there was probably 20 limits yesterday by this time.
Well, you talk about the weather. You can see the sky. You know, they talk about the temperature not going to fall today, and it did, and it hasn't much. But you go outside, the humidity's gone. I mean, it is a Houston version of a bluebird day out there today, as close as you can get to it. How about our power pole replay of the day?
Yes.
Oh, you got to give it to this one. We were away during break time, and this is what went down.
Brent Ehrler already with a limit in his live well. Had 2 fish in there that were right at the 16-inch limit line, trying to get rid of those. This was number 1. Massive cull right there. Going to give him about I'd say a solid 3-pound upgrade on that bite.
Look at that.
A couple minutes after that, Brent Ehrler, well, did a little bit more work, put another one in the live well. Another big call for Brent Ehrler. Tommy, you know what that is?
What's that?
The power pole replay of the day.
Thank you. You're exactly right about that. Couldn't agree more with you right there. Who's the big bass guy of this Geico Bassmaster Classic? It's him right there. So far, it is Brent Ehrler. Big bass specialist for sure. Absolutely. We got one here, and it's Brent Ehrler. Look at that lead right now.
Hey now, did you look in third place though? Very quiet throughout the day. Very quiet in our interview yesterday after the weigh.
Yes, he was. Dave Lefebvre sort of slipping in there very quietly, as you say, and he's right behind Edwin Evers at this point. He has joined the battle. The battle goes on the second day of the Classic, trying to make the top 25. We'll be right back.
Yamaha V-Max SHO, the game changer. The pros knew right out of the first hole shot that the V-Max SHO was the real deal. V-Max SHO exceeds 2-stroke performance, delivers 4-stroke efficiency, and is packed with legendary Yamaha reliability. It's the faster, stronger, smarter, lighter family of V-Max SHO outboards from Yamaha.
This Tundra for me is more than just a vehicle. The way that we travel in professional bass fishing, it's our home. As a competitor, man, I want to win. That desire to win, to be the best, that's never weakened. It's been the same from when I was 13, 14 years old to now. It hasn't gone away.
Toyota, let's go places.
Let us make this absolutely clear. The days of wasted casts and missed opportunities are over. New Mega Imaging takes fishing into the megahertz range for the first time, because higher frequency sonar means higher frequency of this. Without a doubt, it's the most detailed picture of the world below ever. And it's only from Humminbird.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's a game changer.
This thing steers just as easy in the thick stuff as it does out there in the open water.
It's much quieter. It's more responsive. Hit one button, and you're locked down. It's holding us right in place. It's anchoring us right here.
That new spot lock is dead on.
You know, the only fighting you have to worry about is fighting the fish now.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It's the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, being brought to you live by Berkeley.
Bassmaster Live, Got plenty more to go today. Day 2 of the Geico Bassmaster Classic, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Sunday, though, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. Sunday is the big day, the crucial day when we crown our world champion. One man will stand on top of the world of bass fishing. Life will be changed, or will it be someone who's been there before? Maybe even somebody who won it last year. There's that possibility to look at as well. What's going to go down tomorrow? We will have it all for you. Bassmaster Classic Expo, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, in full swing right now. This is Saturday and a big day always for the Expo. Everyone comes from far and near, folks from 1,000 miles away coming to this great, one of the best of all outdoor shows. And you know, there's Vikings fans all over the world.
Yes.
We follow the Vikings, and we follow the ups and downs of the Vikings. It's just the thing is, the down part of it has nothing to do with this guy. It has nothing to do with the defense. That is the solid element in the world of pro football. And Brian Robinson, Texas guy, UT guy, Conroe guy, Houston guy.
Yes, sir.
What a guest to have. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for coming in here today.
Thank you guys for having me. It's always a blast.
Yeah. Have you been looking forward to this, Conroe host, or you been dreading it?
No, I've been looking forward to it. Definitely to see them kind of get on your home lake and see these guys fish around, see how they do it. This lake fish is really small, so you kind of see that. But it's one of those deals that you've got to search for the fish, and it's a grind lake. You got to get out here, and you've got to just keep on fishing and keep your mental game into it.
If you can, I mean, you grew up fishing here. I mean, your dad's a hardcore fisherman. I'm looking at him right now. Talk about this, and it has been the story of the day. Look, coming in here, I've talked to you about this. Keith Combs does not own this lake. Keith Combs owns the region, man. How shocked were you yesterday?
I was very shocked. I would have thought that he'd went out there, caught 20 pounds plus, and been able to sustain that over 3 days. I mean, he's shown, numerous events here that he can do that. And so for him to come in and not weigh in a limit, but weigh in 7 pounds, I mean, I was very, very, very shocked by that.
This is one of those weird times of year where I said this yesterday after the weigh-in. There's no dominant pattern right now, where generally the tournaments that we cover, when there's a dominant pattern, 30 to 40% of the tournaments doing that, and they're successful doing that. Is that characteristic of this lake, or is that more of a time of year situation?
That is Conroe. You're going to catch fish in different ways all day long, and you just got to figure out how to stumble upon the right fish. You might catch a few flipping a jig, and then you're going to go out and deep crank. You might catch some on a Carolina rig. You might turn around and catch some on a frog. I mean, it's one of those deals that it literally, any point in time you fish Conroe, you're normally going to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rods on your deck. I mean, it's just kind of just one of those deals you just keep throwing until you find something you can stick with, but there's normally not that set pattern. I mean, it's funny, you're looking at Ehrler, he's probably the one guy that's got a little bit of a pattern right now.
Lived in it, right.
But most guys, it's hard to figure out a pattern on this lake.
And it's almost, what's really strange following this tournament so far is, I'm not going to lie, when we did our post-weigh-in interviews yesterday, I looked at Tommy and I said, it's going to end up an offshore tournament before it's all said and done. And Davey sat there and he's like, oh, ain't no doubt about it. It's almost like you can get tricked into living with one bullet in your gun here.
Well, and there's no doubt about that. And I mean, when you look at 3-4 weeks ago, this water temperature was in the low 70s. And then we had a front come through, it dropped back down, and it's starting to rise back up with the warm weather this week. So I thought, too, there would be some deep fish caught deep cranking. That's why I thought Keith Combs would do very well. You'd get a lot of them post-spawn fish that kind of move back out. But the one thing that I see, and I'm a little worried about for some of these guys, is these guys that go up north, if those weights are going to be able to hold up. Because there's fish up there, and there's big fish up there. But are they going to be able to do it for 3 days? And surprisingly, I mean, you're looking at what Ehrler's doing right now.
Made it happen.
I mean, he's making it happen.
And we said that, before the intermission, Greg Hackney was selling himself out of that area. That exact area. He kept saying, it cannot hold. I have to figure something else out on that lower end.
And I've been surprised there haven't been more boats up there. It is one of those areas that you've got a lot of resident fish up there. You've got some little neighborhoods and canals that got a lot of fish in it. But the other thing I've been surprised at is not a lot of guys are fishing the Caney Creek area. That is an area that is very well known on this lake for producing, some 20-pound plus bags. And so for me, when I'm looking at this, seeing not a lot of guys in that Caney Creek area has kind of been a questionable deal for me as well.
I don't know. I just drifted away there for a second, Brian, and I apologize for that. I do that every now and then. It's a habit I have. I do it at home quite a bit. Did you hear that Jay Cutler's being traded to the Vikings? It was going through yesterday.
I have heard of that, and I normally don't pay attention to news like that until they say somebody's been signed.
That's right. If you don't mind me saying, from one Bears fan to my favorite Viking, y'all can have them.
All right.
If you don't mind me saying one thing from a Viking to a Bears fan,
yes.
I love Sam Bradford and Teddy Bridgewater.
I understand.
There you go. That's the spirit that gets things done.
I noticed you didn't go much further.
Brian, everywhere we go, they tell we arrive in town, they say, hey, this lake is famous for here today and gone tomorrow. Everywhere they tell us that. Doesn't always work out that way. This place is absolutely that way, and you just laid it out, the reasons why and so forth like that. But you've got to, we look at this place, we've never been here before. Great Bass Lake, 45 minutes from the third largest city in the United States. Pressure, and how this lake has stood up to it is really remarkable. Gone one day, here the next, notwithstanding. This place is amazing.
It really is. And when you think that this used to be a huge grass lake,
oh yeah,
and it has totally changed from that over the years. I didn't really get to fish it a lot when it had a lot of grass, but people just told me it was stupid ridiculous. And now there's hardly any grass you can find. You can go up on the north end, you can find a little bit of stuff, but you're mostly fishing bulkheads, you're mostly fishing docks, you're fishing little pieces of wood and brush that's in the water, and that's what you're fishing. And so for these fish to still be able to produce the way it is with having such a high pressure area around the Houston area, it has been pretty remarkable.
Unbelievable. I know they had two big periods where they cut back the grass, it grew back, and they cut it back again, probably like early 2000s, late 1990s, like that. How long did it take it to come back and sort of reestablish as a no-grass place and get this good?
It really and truly, when you look at it, it didn't take very long. When you look at it, there was probably a little bit of a lull period that guys weren't catching them as good. But, this is one of those lakes that you can go out and any time of the year, you can catch a shell runker. You're seeing it all the time that guys are catching 11s, 12s, 13s on this lake. And, there's very real opportunity. It may happen at some point this weekend.
Looking at Edwin Evers running right there, and he's been up calm, just kind of easing around the lake since he sacked him up early this morning. I'm going to kind of leave for a second. Last year, I was up on almost the border of Minnesota and Canada on one of the nastiest days. One of the nastiest, and look, man, I live in that weather.
Yeah.
I was born in that weather. My family lives in that weather, and I was on a lake up there. I got off the water. There's one other trailer at that boat ramp. This dude. I'm not kidding.
No kidding.
And I thought to myself, I said, man, that's a baller. That's hardcore right there. Because look, when I tell you it was nasty, dude, it was nasty.
Very nasty.
And here's the one thing I'll throw at you is, look, y'all got great weather down here. Cold to y'all is going to be like 50 to 60 degrees. What fishing do you prefer? Is your heart still here, or would you rather go up there and bust on? I hate to say it, the smallmouth in the area that I saw you and your buddies fishing, they're not the sharpest tool in the shed on those lakes.
Not at all. There's some areas up there that you can get in and you just basically start experimenting. Like, what will they not bite on? And it's very fun thing to be a part of, but my heart's always in Texas, man. Having the opportunity to go around these lakes like Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Lake Fork, which has always had my heart, to go to these lakes and be able to have a very real opportunity at catching a double-digit fish, at any point in the day. It's hard to beat that. But, you also get some opportunities up in Minnesota that you can go out and catch literally 150 fish a day. And when you talk about weather, when it gets cold down here, it gets tough.
Oh, God.
Really tough.
Right.
And when it gets cold up there, nothing changes at all. So, it's a hard one to really try to decide on.
basically I'm trying to fish these points that got hard spots on top. Like right there, it's real pebbly, and it's about 8 foot right there. It's got a lot of brush out here on the end of it, but I just need a big bite. I'm ready to catch one. Catch all those fish right off the bat and then go so long doing other stuff. It makes for a long, long day. End of the day, it's perfect though. You know, it's what I need. It's how you win a tournament. You just keep practicing, trying to find more stuff. There's a bite right there. I think he's hitting my weight. I don't know what that is. It must be little sand bass. Huh. I'm ready to get a bite though. I need that 9-pounder. There's a lot of them in this lake. That's all I'm trying to do is just put myself in a position, you know, to catch one. I don't think I'm going to catch a 9-pounder up flipping bushes. You know, that's another pattern I got, fishing shallow. I think I can catch like a 5 or 6-pounder off docks. I haven't caught very many like giants here off docks. All the big ones have all came out off the bank. It's like it's an old pipeline or old road right here. It's got 2 little rock veins on each side of it. A lot better day than yesterday, though. I can tell you that right now. Good night. We can fish. We're not beating ourselves to death. And surprisingly, I haven't noticed much boat traffic. It hadn't been bad at all. Just need to get a bite.
Brian, I'm sure you, like all the rest of us, if they had to pick a favorite coming into this Classic, you would have said Keith Combs. Pretty much everybody said. After him, who was your pick to win the Bassmaster Classic?
It's tough because once again you go back to it's hard to build a pattern on this lake. But obviously my first pick would have been Keith Combs. I really believe my second pick, and I still think I'm going to stick with this, is a guy like Kevin Van Dam. And, you know, I know that's the easy pick to make, but I feel like he's a guy that can make things happen. He knows how to switch on the run, and, you know, he doesn't stick to a conformed in. Now, he threw jerkbait for most of the day yesterday, which surprised me very much. But he's doing something different than what anybody else is doing, and that's what makes Kevin Van Dam so great.
Brian, what is your, for somebody that's not been to Conroe, and I mean, I looked at the big bass tournament they had here a month ago, and I mean, they mauled them. They climbed on them. For you and your buddies, and I mean, your buddies are as hardcore as they get on this lake, what is your favorite? What's your, you know, the locals that really catch them, what's the best time to fish Conroe?
For me, and I don't get to fish it much, but I've done it a couple times, is coming here in October and I will go straight to Caney Creek area and just flip out there. I mean, some of the best days that I've had is when they're up shallow feeding in Caney Creek, and I've had some 25-pound days. In October. But as far as if you're going to get out here and you're going to fish, you're going to have a bunch of different rods on the deck. And I like going up to the 1375. I like going shallow on this lake. I know a lot of people deep crank and do some things like that, but it's hard to stay on the fish for some reason for me out here. And I don't get a lot of big sacks on this lake. It's just something that I don't do. I mean, I could talk to you all day about catching 14, 15 pounds.
I'm starting to drift away again. I went somewhere.
What?
I know. It's happened again during this interview.
Yeah, come on.
I'm going to kind of, number one, you're having if you can tell us about it real quick, you're having a huge charity event next week up on Rayburn, correct?
Yes, sir.
Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday.
It's a random draw tournament. I'd like to get some details on it. You randomly drew Kevin Van Dam.
Yeah, I mean, well, I told you how it happened. You sit there and you look at this list of guys that we've got, like Kevin Van Dam, Keith Combs, Mark Zona, all these guys, and I just had a random thought, like, maybe I should be with Kevin Van Dam.
Yeah.
And so it was random draw. I had a random thought. I draw them.
Is that kind of the benefit of having the Brian Robison charity event where you can...
Well, you saw the name of the boat, right? It's the only one that matters boat.
It's like a computer pick, though. Kind of like that. A little bit like that.
For people that are just joining us, tuning in, tell us a little bit. We're looking at Edwin Evers right now. It's slowed down a bit. Just give us a couple details for next weekend if you want to come up and have fun. It's going to be a big time.
Yeah, I mean, we invite everybody to come out. It's the Brian Robinson Reel 'em In Foundation Tournament. And basically what it is, we have an open tournament on Saturday. It's $200 entry fee. Anybody can get in it and fish it. That evening we have auctions. We've got about 25 or 26 elite anglers paired with athletes like Adrian Peterson, Terrence Newman, Willie Young. And so these guys get the opportunity to bid on these boats. If they win the auction, they get to fish a tournament the next day with these guys. So it's a pretty cool deal, and everything's raised goes towards Canines for Cops.
I did ask you this last year, but I'll ask you again because it might have changed. Who in the NFL is the most bass fishing addicted single human being?
Me.
Second place is who?
Willie Young.
Willie Young. Okay, that's the same answer we got last year. Everything's same with the world. Good to hear that. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you, Patrick Willis, he doesn't play anymore. Future Hall of Famer, big-time fisherman.
I've never met Patrick in that realm, but they say he is a huge fisherman out there.
Yeah.
Who's the other Patrick used to play? Oh, Patrick Ramsey used to play for Washington. He's from Louisiana guy. Man, he's the big-time fisherman from over there as well.
Sensible.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
Yeah, you've got some football players that love to fish.
Yeah.
Now, do you see yourself, when you're done with football, do you see yourself going hardcore in the tournament? I mean, like big time going into tournaments?
I do. I mean, I really do. You know, it's something that I've really got to think about. I mean, obviously, this is something you're on the road all the time. You're not seeing your family, things like that. So I've thought about it. You know, there's opportunities that I would like to do this hardcore. I mean, there may be something that, you know what, maybe I sit up here and do Bass Live with you guys all day long, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be an
Come on,
opportunity.
watch this.
How
Come
about
on.
that?
Yeah, come on.
But definitely, it's something that I definitely want to do. I'm that passionate about it that when I'm done playing football, that's what I want to do all day, every day.
Will you see yourself ever moving up to those smallmouth lakes up north?
No.
For 4 months of the year?
No.
So when you're
Not that I don't love Minnesota. I love it to death, but I'm a Texas guy, man.
You'll be here.
I'll be here.
Conroe, I'm assuming, was your favorite place to fish as a kid, right? Was this your favorite place to go, or what was your favorite place to go?
Honestly, my favorite place to go when I was growing up as a kid was at the bottom of my road. We had Peach Creek, and that was my favorite place to go.
Peach Creek.
Nobody was there, and I could catch fish all day long.
And what does that run into? Where is that?
It's
San Jacinto River?
San Jacinto River.
San Jacinto River.
Oh, that's right. It goes under 59 up there. Yeah. I've seen that before.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Well,
very nice.
Yep,
I told him that before we got on.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. Always a pleasure, man.
You guys, appreciate it.
Best of luck on your event coming up next week. That's going to be some great stuff.
See what you guys can do together.
Probably win.
Yeah.
Random draw.
Look at them coming in, still fogging into the George R. Brown Convention Center. The Bassmaster Classic Expo is going to open the doors tomorrow. If you're in the area, man, if you're here in Southeast Texas, make the trip. It is worth it. There is no other outdoor show like it on earth. 10 a.m. when they open those doors up for the general public. We'll have been in here a while doing our show, and we'll be there for a long time after that till almost the bitter end. And everybody walks about 2 blocks down the street, goes into Minute Maid Park, and has a big time, a wonderful time at the Classic Weigh-In. You never want, if you get a chance to go to one of those, you got to do it. I hope we see you here tomorrow. I'm going to be right back in just a couple more minutes. Plenty more fishing to go on day 2, the Geico Bassmaster Classic.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
The competition is fierce and the prizes are huge. The only thing missing is you. Fantasy Fishing presented by Toyota. Sign up for free and face fans from across the nation. Grand prize winner receives a Triton Yamaha package including a Triton 189 TRX. MSRP of $37,293. The Classic and each individual Elite Event winner will receive $2,500 Bass Pro Shops gift cards, with the runner-up receiving a GoPro Hero 4 black camera. Sign up and pick your team today at Bassmasterfantasy.com.
Eat, sleep, fish. A motto all Skeeter owners live by, with 16 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy Save Fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Visit us for all the details at the Expo Center, booth 1225.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S. today. Since 1968, B.A.S.S. has been serving bass fishing enthusiasts with information and tournament coverage that make you a better angler. When you sign up today, you'll join over 500,000 outdoorsmen who love bass fishing. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, BASS cap, plus more. Log on to Bassmaster.com to join Bass today.
Are you ready for this? Your 2016 Geico Bassmaster Classic champion, Edwin Evers! Grove, Oklahoma, I need you to get loud when I call these anglers out. These are the 55 best bass anglers in the universe. Oh, yeah, it's nice. Tennessee, how's everybody doing today? We are excited to get this season kicked off. It all starts here.
Barely hooked, dude. Barely hooked.
Yes! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Stay down, stay down. Stay down, open your mouth, open your mouth. Yes! Thank you. Yeah! That's a big one. That's for you, Mama! How about that right there now? Woo! Ooh, yes! Yes! Yes!
Elite's second event for 2017 at legendary Lake Okeechobee. So much tradition here and so many amazing eye-popping results.
Yeah, buddy's right. Yes! Yes! Give me some high five on that. Yes.
Take a closer look at that one.
I ain't never flipped a fish that big before, I don't think. Woo!
Stay hooked.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
Now for your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
Think you could win valuable prizes from Bassmaster? You can't know unless you enter, and entering is easy. Go to Bassmaster.com. Enter now for a chance to win a fishing trip with 2016 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Gerald Swindle. Trip includes airfare, rental car, hotel, and $500 cash, plus a Triton 17 TX bass boat, Mercury engine, and Gerald's gear from Humminbird, Minn Kota, GoPro, and more. You, the winner of a valuable prize? Could be. All you have to do to get your shot is go to Bassmaster.com and enter today and every day. Hey, it could be you.
If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, we call it sea-pecking. In 1958, Dick Seapeck wrote the book. He was the creator of the original adventure tire. Dick Seapeck has a complete line of adventure tires and wheels. As the originator, Dick Seapeck knows what you need. Tires engineered for adventure, traction, reliability, and durability. If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, oh yeah, you're sea-pecking now. Dick Seapeck tires, proudly made in the good old USA.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
It's the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, being brought to you live by Berkley.
Day 2 of the Bassmaster Classic, Lake Conroe, Houston, Texas.
Exactly right. Ready as ever right there. Geico Bassmaster Classic, Tommy Sanders. One classic win. And it seems everybody kind of joining us around the Bassmaster live set. The one question is, man, you think Edwin can do it? Here's what I can tell you. I can guarantee you you're going to see tomorrow. You're going to see an Edwin Evers onslaught in the morning. It's going to happen. It has happened both days of this tournament. You can put that in the books. It's going to be a tournament tomorrow. Can the guys just keep up with him?
The cool thing about tomorrow, hopefully we're going to have a camera in his boat and really get to see exactly what he's doing differently than a lot of other guys. Almost, I'm going to say 95% of the guys we talked to, either on media day or yesterday, tried to make the shad spawn happen. So Edwin's doing something very different because he's the only one that's been able to make it happen, and he's made it happen 2 days in a row.
And if you don't mind me saying, he has hit it very well.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes, very well. Yesterday he started the day off yesterday like most guys thought if they if everything worked just perfect, they could start off with 15 pounds and then go fishing, doing other stuff. Today, he did a lot better. Started with what I think is 22 pounds or so.
Kind of had a midday lull, a lot of fireworks during our intermission when we had our break. Big calls by Brent Ehrler, 2 real big calls. And I don't, we always start playing calculator before we go to the weigh-in. We generally do that for the next 2 hours. I think that's going to be a lot closer.
Evers and Ehrler?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a little more than that, looking at their fish.
I agree.
Could be wrong, but I think it's going to be a little closer. And wow, would it be cool to see those guys get after it tomorrow. With really only one of the top 5, I'm guessing they're fishing offshore.
Yes.
Would not have guessed that coming in here.
I mean, Edwin's doing that now, but that's, it's not his game.
He's practicing, like he said earlier. He's practicing.
And here's the other side of that leaderboard, that unofficial leaderboard, quietly sitting in 3rd place right now.
Yep.
Dave Lefevre.
Yep. Who has won here before, correct?
He has won here before, and he's doing something totally different than Ehrler and Evers.
I'm looking forward to talking about that tomorrow. He was real secretive about his bait, his technique, exactly what he had going on. But we're gonna talk about it tomorrow.
There was a whole group of them yesterday that was secretive.
We're gonna talk about it tomorrow for sure.
Guys, I've been digging around looking for Marshall's phone numbers and reaching out to the water and confirmed that we talked about Alton Jones sitting on 0. Talked to Wesley Strader's Marshall. He was in 9th place after day 1. He has 0. Matt Herron as well. Both Strader and Herron have caught at least a dozen fish today. No 16 inchers though. Alton Jones Jr. consistent day 1. Good number right there, and he has 0 as well. So those are 2 Texans. The father and sons both have 0, and then 2 guys who are in the top 10 also sitting on 0.
That blows my mind. That really. Alton Jones and Alton Jones Jr. haven't caught a fish.
I think the Herron thing is amazing.
Yeah, yep.
That 16-inch limit's playing a bigger factor than we thought it ever would, probably.
And here's the other side of that. A guy like Herron, and you have to throw Crochet in there. Even though Crochet is unofficially still in our top 12, he only has 3 bass. Those guys are living up to that prediction of the further you go up that lake, the more at risk you're going to be of burning them, just running out of fish.
Guys, another note before we get off of this topic of Bass Track. Jordan Lee, we talked about his first fish of the day was a 6.5 pounder. Jordan Lee has 3 fish for 16 pounds.
Wow.
He has a 6.5, a 5, and another 5. So Jordan Lee, 3 fish, 16.5 pounds, all of them over 5 pounds.
What did he have yesterday?
He had, I think he was roughly, Jordan Lee was, let me just check right here.
37 for about 8 pounds.
Yes, 37th place.
He's got 24 today, so total today. So he only had about 8 or 9 pounds yesterday, but it's certainly got on something here in the last couple hours.
14th unofficially right now.
14 now, okay.
14th. Our Bass Nation champion is also making a move. He's up in 9th place. It's Ryan Levine.
Where was Ott Defoe yesterday? Because I talk about the momentum an awful lot. And
25th he was 25th with 13.5.
25th, which is an off tournament for him, but he has moved his way right on up there to 12th place.
Yep, he was the bubble boy coming in.
Better watch out, he'll sneak in at least another top 10. He's really been fishing well about the last year or 2.
I think that last year was his first Classic ever that he didn't get a top 12 in, so he's always shows up big in the Classic, it seems.
little lull in the action right there, Tommy Sanders.
Yeah, Edwin Evers still finding himself almost 4 pounds behind Brent Ehrler after taking a big lead early this morning. We're going to head back to our host city of Houston, Texas, that big giant facility you see at the bottom of your screen, the George R. Brown Convention Center, home of the Bassmaster Classic Expo presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. There is no outdoor show like it on the earth. Just the technology that you see here is enough to explain some of the advances in fishing we've had through the time. Dave Mercer, I understand, has worked his way back from Lake Conroe, had busy duty this morning, and he's scoping out the latest and the greatest for it. Dave, let's hope we can hear you. Can we hear you, Dave?
Well, I hope you can hear me, but in the middle of the Dick's Sporting Goods Outdoor Expo, over 300,000 square feet of outdoor fantasy land, just about everything an outdoors person could want. And what I'm seeing right here is a prime example of what makes the Bassmaster Classic so special and the Dick's Outdoors Expo. Basically, I look right over here and you got a 2-time Classic champion, Hank Parker, up there giving a free seminar. I look back that way, I got Chris Lane spending some time with fans all around this place, crawling with fish catching freaks. And one of the things we've talked about coming into this event, Lake Conroe, the home to so many giant fish, 17 sharelunkers, 17 Toyota sharelunkers have come from Lake Conroe. That's a fish over 13 pounds. And nobody, I don't care where you're from, you love giant fish. That is what it's all about. And I got a guy who knows a thing or two about giant fish. Spotted bass record seems to change like every 3 weeks, and we just happened to have run into Nick Dullig, who is hanging out here in the Nitro booth, and it sounds like you may be the latest recipient of the Spotted Bass record. Am I just a weirdo, or does it really seem like it's changing like every 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think for the most part, everyone seems to think that. There are a lot of huge fish, a lot of great guys catching fish out there right now. But yeah, I think for the most part, there's a season. That winter season is a potential for monster fish. So there's a lot of guys out there chasing it. Just humbled and proud to be the one that caught that. I've been chasing it for a bit, and it's been great.
We're looking at that giant fish right now, and I saw that footage. I don't even know what I would say if that crossed the stage. I mean, that is a legitimate freak nasty. How big was it?
It was 11 pounds 4 ounces, so it's monster.
And what is the process? When you go out and you catch a record, high fives, everything, for the rest of your life, people are going to say you cheated, because that just seems to be what happens when you get a record. But on top of that, how do you get that record? How does it become official?
Yeah, I think the main process is you got to weigh the fish on land on a great quality scale and get it certified. That's a big part of it. And then beyond that, just going through the whole process with IGFA and working with them and getting all the documentation to them is where there's been some problems with other records and various reasons. And I think it's just the main thing is making sure you have all of your ducks in a row and really get everything dialed in, documented great. I had 2 GoPros, so I was able to capture everything, and I have the full cast to catch of the of the catch and everything. So I think the GoPros helped a lot to really document, and people could see what I was seeing. So I do have that footage, and hopefully at some point I'll be able to share that as well. So
I can't wait to see that footage, but I gotta ask you the most important question, because everybody watching right now, they all want to catch a record spot. How did you catch it?
So I was using a dirty jig, finesse football jig. I was using a Gary Yamamoto trailer, and basically it was caught on a jig. Wasn't super deep, wasn't super shallow, but it was solid bite. Slammed the fish in the face and fought it in. I didn't know it was the record, when it was going on, just because water was muddy and so on. But right when it came up, we were both like, my heart skipped a beat for sure when I saw that fish. So
truly a fish of a lifetime. I want to congratulate you. There's not many fish you see a video of and you get that excited about, and you got me excited. So me and you could become really close friends if you take me fishing, will you?
Yep. Well, I'm going to get a nitro from Rick over here at some point. So when we get that done, you come out to California, we'll get it all set up.
Perfect. Me, you, and Rick will go to California. Very, very cool. A brand new Spotted Bass record, but lots to do here, guys. Obviously, the Toyota booth, so many different areas you can swing by. And this is one of the funnest parts of the Bassmaster Classic, just simply because you get to meet and greet. The Super Bowl was here, a month and a half ago? they didn't have an event where you could just walk around and shake Tom Brady's hand and all the players, and that's what makes this sport so special. I mean, being able to interact with these guys, and it's free of charge. So if you're anywhere close, get down here today, or if you've got to drive a little longer, we're still open tomorrow.
Well, you know, this opportunity to talk about a gift, the gift of being able to interact with Dave Mercer right here inside the convention center, that's part of the Triton
I think he was
on the
kind of
line
trying to
feature.
scratch up a free boat in that whole situation is the way I was gathering that.
A boat, a fishing trip, the whole 9 yards.
Now, they want us to talk, and pull Dave into this, about our predictions weight-wise. Weight-wise for
total weight
for
the
the end of this classic.
Yes.
So, we've got them printed out here. Everyone's predicted their ending weight, the winning weight for the Bassmaster Classic.
Not for betting purposes, Tommy Sanders. We do this every year at the Bassmaster Classic.
Yes, we do. Dave Mercer picking 69, just above my 66.3, and you're right in the middle there, picked out the middle ground.
Yep.
Davey Height, the most optimistic guy in town here.
I was.
How do you feel about it right now?
Well, it's still possible, but the offshore bite has really amazed me that it has gone away. I just really thought that there would be a few guys that would catch between 25 and 30 pounds at least multiple days.
Dave, now tell me again what your weight was. What was your pick, Dave?
I believe it was 69 pounds. Well, where are we at right now, guys?
41, which we think
I'm right on schedule. Right on schedule.
We think that's a conservative 41.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit closer to 43, but I'm not going to lie, Tommy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to come down to us.
I think you're right, because 41, hey, we were close to the midday of today, but we're not close to midday as far as scoring.
No doubt about it.
All right. Dave, what else in the Expo have you scoped out for us?
There's tons of stuff to do, guys. You come on over here to the Toyota booth, and you can see absolutely jammed full of people here. And one of the coolest things is not only can you come here and meet anglers, but you get all sorts of free swag. Toyota's got a pretty cool activation. It allows you to make your own shirt with your favorite Toyota, Team Toyota angler, of course, Kevin Van Dam, Gerald Swindle, Big Show Terry Scroggins, and Mike Iaconelli on Team Toyota. But lots to do here. You come on over here. If that's not enough, you slide on over down here to the Toyota Fishing Team casting display. And as you can see, it's an awful lot of fun. You got kids learning to fish right here. We got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Toyota Tundra in here. Just about everything you can. And then, of course, right over there, you can see Miss Geico, that high-performance boat. There's so much going on here, guys. And if you head over to General Tire, I mean, we were there the other day. You can literally hang out in Skeet Reese and Edwin Evers' office. No joke. They have an office, and you can hang out in it.
No telling who you're going to run into on the floor. All the classics you've been to, Dave, who was the most impressive person that you ever bumped into on the floor of the Expo?
Tommy Sanders. Tommy
All
Sanders.
right,
I'd say by far the most impressive person. No, I mean, honestly, I will think about it. My first classic that I ever attended was in 2000, and it was in Chicago, and I've been to many, many since then. And I'll tell you, I still remember that feeling and that excitement because, I mean, I'm no different than anybody else here. I grew up watching these guys on TV, and to be able to walk up and talk to them, and not just, you're not just going to a meet and greet where you're going to get a quick signature. You got questions about fishing, that sort of thing. It really is amazing the access that you have to the anglers here. The who's who of fishing is here, and quite often you run into some celebrities around here as you guys just hang out with Brian Robson and a lot of different athletes that love the sport of fishing.
Dave Mercer, thank you so much. Our Triton on the line with Dave Mercer. A bunch of people are going to say, you know who I ran into today? Dave Mercer.
Exactly.
And they're going to remember that
Love
for the rest of their life. That's going to be their favorite memory of the Expo out there. Dave Mercer on his way. He's on his way over to Minute Maid Field in a few minutes to get ready to start the weigh-in. That's coming your way. The classic weigh-in from day number 2. Very crucial. We've going to take it down to 25 guys. If you're not in the top 25, you are headed home or most likely headed over here to the Expo to spend your day tomorrow. But it's a big-time weigh-in, and who's going to set the groundwork for a championship? Who will be our top 3, 4, maybe 10 guys, maybe 12 of them have a shot at the Classic tomorrow? It's all those answers are getting a little clearer. They're far from clear now, but we'll be closer to them by the end of the weigh-in. But please join us, Bassmaster.com, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I was impressed with the weigh-in yesterday and the crowd that turned out.
It was amazing.
Minute Maid Field. Fridays are tough days for people to get off work, and especially downtown, big cities, traffic and so forth like that. Had a huge, enthusiastic crowd here.
Really, and it's something that we've never experienced in any Classic that we've covered, for the past 13 years. Is the entire setup. You were in awe yesterday at the folks that are at the Expo now and that are coming down to the weigh-in. It's overwhelming how cool it is.
Absolutely.
It really is, and normally you can get a good feel for how many people are going to be at the weigh-in, because not all, but a lot of them come to the Expo a few hours before weigh-in. If that's any kind of signal, which it normally is, there's going to be a lot of folks over there this afternoon.
Yeah, they don't have to catch a bus, do anything. Just walk a couple of blocks down the street, and you're right there at Minute Maid Field. Still time to come down and catch a little bit of the Expo and go to the weigh-in if you're a Houston person or very close by.
Taking a look right now, double box, Edwin Evers, Clifford Perch. And here's the one thing that Bassmaster Live has taught us over the last 3 years. When it's happening on a lake, it's generally happening almost all over the lake. It's something that it's uncanny how it works out almost every tournament that we've ever covered together. And when a body of water turns off, it turns off for the field. One here, one there. But I remember the first time it happened when we were covering an event together. I'm like, boy, it's so weird how many fish catches are coming in right now. And it was like a light went off. And you saw that today.
Yep. It comes on and it goes off just as easily.
Right.
It's truly incredible. But you don't know that as an angler competing because you're not looking at the Rapala 5 live. It's uncanny, like you say. A whole lake, or in this particular instance, certainly the lower end of the lake. The upper end guys are catching a few, but it's slowed way down.
And that is a learning experience for somebody at home, that when you sit there and go, is it me? There are times where it's not. I'm not gonna lie, the majority of times it is me, but in all honesty, there's certain times on every single body of water that it shuts down and seamlessly it turns right back on.
Yep. And it's amazing. We don't know why. We haven't got a clue as to why that is, which shows that there's still so much to learn about bass fishing and fishing in general. NASA's just right down the road. I wonder if we could convince them to maybe slack off on one of the Mars probes or something like that and take up this issue.
It would probably take that to figure out these little green fish. One thing I can tell you from experience, a north wind, let's say, tell everyone, the wind was blowing out of the south yesterday. When it turns 180 degrees and comes out of the north in March, it's usually not good.
Yeah.
Usually not good.
Really not a whole lot of action on our leaderboard, just in keeping with all of what you were saying right there in the last few. Dave Lefebvre, his move up right behind Edwin Evers, is probably the biggest thing that's happened in the last hour and a half.
Now look at that quad box right now compared to an hour and a half ago. 3 of your anglers were up flipping brush with one guy fishing offshore. Now one guy throwing a frog and 3 guys offshore. And here's the thing, you do not see that in usual tournaments.
No, you really don't.
You don't.
If Edwin Evers only knew how many guys haven't caught anything offshore, he's out there practicing because he hasn't been doing a whole lot of that. There's guys that have been catching them really good, and they're not catching anything today. Let me ask you something, Zona. I know you fish the old ball and chain quite a bit. The the Carolina rig like Edwin Evers is fishing now. And I've fished it a lot, caught a lot of fish on it, especially early on in my career. I fished it in a lot of the B.A.S.S terms. He's bringing his rod all the way back behind his head, pointed almost, it's almost parallel to the ground, yeah. Is there a reason for that? And I'm asking, I certainly don't know, but I see him and a few other guys just coming out of position, I want to call it.
I'm going to tell you the only other person I know that does exactly that.
Jeff Crete.
That's
with a shaky head.
With anything on the bottom.
Does he?
Absolutely, that exact thing.
Because I don't know why they would do it. Does it trigger some bites? I'd love to know why. But the thing that stands out to me, you are certainly out of position to be able to set the hook or land the fish when you've got your rod. And I know those guys have to know that and realize that. Is there some last little tick? Have you ever been able to get that out of Crete? No?
I've never asked him, but I'll tell you when I was watching him do that just now, that is the other one that does it.
Yep. I don't think either one of those will tell us, though, if there is some last little trick.
Guaranteed, no way.
No way. Nice guys, but probably wouldn't tell their mother if there's a little trick there.
How about some Bass Track stats?
Oh, Such.
Yep.
Day one, after noon, we had 178 fish caught. Today, 103 at the same time. Yesterday there were 71 3+ pounders. Today, 35, less than half. There were 15 5+ fish yesterday at this time now. Today, only 5.
Wow.
What's the difference right now at this time of day in limits compared to yesterday? Ron? Such.
I don't know the exact number, but I do know that the first 2 hours of the day.
I'm not scared to use that question right now for Dick CPEC trivia.
That would be a good one. I can look that up.
I don't know. I know it's not my game.
Such told us enough. Of course, we knew it, but that's even more than I thought. It's down like 60%. The fish catching size and limits and all.
That's drastic.
From yesterday.
That is drastic.
Yep.
I mean, we've gone through 3 or 4 45-minute lulls where no one's caught a fish, and then people will pop in 3 or 4 catches in 2 minutes, and then it'll be another 30 minutes with nothing. Like it's just been slow.
There's
something
a
about
gecko behind you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look out.
Yeah, he's gonna get me.
You have a Geico lizard, and you have Santa Claus to the left of me.
He's much smaller in the commercials. This
It's
gecko
magic on the water.
Wow. Than he is right now.
And it's magic off the water right now, baby.
Might be a lull on the water today, but there's no lull here in the Expo.
I just remember him as being so much smaller from the commercials. Of course, Ronnie and Such are not that big. So
I'm sitting miniaturized today.
I thought you were sitting down.
Very intimidating lizard.
Do you notice the difference in size in lizards that you see in fishing? The 6-inch version, like some of the guys have been Carolina rigging this way, and you see a great big one.
I hate to say it, what just went through my head is those National Geographic things where the shark eats the seal. I love you, Geico Gecko, but I'd love to see a shark.
What size hook would you need for that?
That's a joke. It was a scalded joke. It's a scalded joke.
It's a stats. It's a stats that bring the fans in for these
exactly
guys.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Ron Moore, the Such.
Give the Geico Gecko a hug there, Ron.
What are you thinking? Like a 6 or 7-aught hook, maybe a little bit bigger, Zona? What are you going to rig him with?
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
They love the stats. Lizards love stats.
Having a time at the Expo is what's happening.
That proves that.
Back when
the only stats I know are Bass Live stats. Things we have not seen today that we saw yesterday. Somebody flipping a dock. No, we haven't seen jerkbait.
I don't know, man. I'll tell you, today has been literally one of the strangest days that I've covered on. Take away the Classic. Seriously. Take away the Bassmaster Classic. It's been one of the I hate to use, besides Edwin Evers and Brent Ehrler, and now you can throw Dave Lefebvre's name in there. We'll obviously be with him tomorrow. It's been a very, very random, fragile day.
Absolutely. How about some Dick CPEC trivia to take you to the break? Dick CPEC Tires and Wheels presents this trivia question. Craig Biggio. Jeff Bagwell, once core members of the Astros Killer Bees, There's a third member. You're disqualified, Zona, because we already talked about it this week.
I am disqualified.
You are disqualified. Was it Carlos Beltran?
Going to be on
Sean
you,
Berry, Wally
baby.
Backman, or Chris Burke? We got plenty more to come. About 2.5 hours away from wind 'em up time out on the lake there. Second day of the Bassmaster Classic, getting closer and closer to weigh-in time. Taking a break, coming back.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha B.A.S.S SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, these advanced 4-stroke predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. B.A.S.S SHO. The pack is growing.
Almost 30 years ago, I fished my first Bassmaster tournament. Once you win one classic, you want another. Once you win Angler of the Year once, nothing satisfies anymore. I love the competition. I love that people are always gunning for me. I never would have guessed that I'd be the guy with the bullseye on my back, but I'm cool with that.
Toyota, let's go places.
Let us make this absolutely clear. The days of wasted casts and missed opportunities are over. New Mega Imaging takes fishing into the megahertz range for the first time, because higher frequency sonar means higher frequency of this. Without a doubt, it's the most detailed picture of the world below ever. And it's only from Humminbird.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's a game changer.
This thing steers just as easy in the thick stuff as it does out there in the open water.
It's much quieter. It's more responsive.
Hit one button, you're locked down.
It's holding us right in place. It's anchoring us right here.
That new spot lock is dead on.
You know, the only fighting you have to worry about is fighting the fish now.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It's the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Being brought to you live by Berkeley.
Watching the Classic live. 47th edition of the World Championship of Fishing, the Geico Bassmaster Classic. First time ever from Houston, Texas. First time ever completely in the heart of Texas. We got some Houston sports-related Bassmaster Classic trivia for you. Here's a question. Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell, 4 members of the Astros Killer Bees. Which player was never included in that group? Which bee was not a member?
Tom, as you said, I am disqualified from this Dick CPEC trivia.
All right.
Davey,
let's roll out. Davey, you want to guess that one?
Roll it on out, bud.
I recognize 2 of them, but I'm torn between. I'm going to go B.
Any good Houston fan would know this one.
Sean Berry, huh?
Not an Astros fan. I apologize.
Till this week.
Yeah. Till this week.
Till this week.
Good answer.
All right, Such, what do we got? Wally Backman, okay.
Wally Backman.
Flippity flop, what he got? New
Wally
York Met.
Backman,
He's a New
yeah.
York Met. He never played. Beltran and Burke and
Wally
Derek
Backman.
Bell,
Yep.
Biggio and Bagwell were the best 3 war guys. Wins after replacement of players with the same beginning letter of their last name.
Gonna take a fly over the lake right now, Davey. See Edwin Evers.
I guess
Bradley
I was
Roy,
fishing
mid-lake here.
the...
Heading back up the lake right now. Taking a look at Brent Ehrler and I believe Mike Iaconelli fishing very, very close to each other. And here's the thing, gang. There are a lot of other anglers in that vicinity. Mike Sukon, Ronnie Moore told us there's 5 to 6 other anglers in there.
There's a few more now.
A few more anglers now. How many you've got in
Oh,
the
yeah.
general pocket right there, Such?
9 or 10.
9 or 10. Wow. How many you got in that pocket? Wow.
Oh, look here. Here we go.
That's a big one. He stuck with it. Caught a 5-pounder. Look at that thing. That's a big one. God, that scared the death out of me. God, I mean, well, there goes our decision. We got to stay. Gotta make one more pass through there. We caught a 5-pounder, big female, pre-spawn, just coming in spawn. That's 3. 2 more. Boy, that scared me. That scared me. Oh my gosh, that bite was scary. I mean, the whole bush shook. the whole bush shook. When I mean, for a guy that's having a bad day, when you see a shake, it's usually a pretty good sign. Wow. Come on. My turnaround fish. That's a 5-pounder. Yeah. It might be bigger, but I overestimated yesterday, so I'll just call him 5. Yeah, Ollie.
I got a question for you, Z.
Yes, sir.
And I'm asking because
I mean, unbelievable.
I think if you ask 10 different guys, you'll probably get several different answers. Brent Ehrler was leading the tournament yesterday, correct?
You gotta stay.
Fished up the river all day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mike Iaconelli stayed down the lake all day yesterday, right?
He did.
We watched him. He struggled, but he stayed there. He had one spot where he caught most of what he weighed in.
Right.
On day 2 in the afternoon, is it
Same stuff.
acceptable
That's what I mean.
to
They're just
be
coming and going,
close to the guy that was leading yesterday and you were
Using
not
these
within
ditches.
10 miles of him? That's a question. If you can't answer that, let me turn it around. If Brent Ehrler was in 5th place yesterday, Mike Iaconelli is leading in some
one
certain
guy
marina,
that
and Brent Ehrler was never within miles of it. Would it be cool for him to be in there today?
What
they
to
just keep
do,
that
what
motor on
to
high,
do,
though.
what to do.
Every time I slow down, I don't get bit.
And how would each angler possibly react differently?
Here. Here's what I can tell you I do know is fact in this tournament right now. I know this as fact. You do too.
Yep.
Is Iaconelli said yesterday during his interview when we were getting done, he said, look, if it sucks fishing offshore, I'm going up that lake and I'm going to live up there. He said that. And,
Yep.
and you and I second guessed that move.
Absolutely.
Now, it just
When we first pulled into
hold
this
on real
area, I
quick.
fished straight down this stretch and never had a bite. And we came back about an hour and a half later and caught that fish. So it tells you how these fish are constantly moving in and out of these ditches, constantly.
Do you guys think that it depends on the size of the area? You were talking about Iaconelli's area, you know, it's just a marina with like a one specific spot. With this thing, there's miles of bushes. Does that make a difference?
I wouldn't say that marina's got one specific spot. We saw like 4 different anglers in there at one time.
Yeah,
I'm not
you know
saying
that.
if he
No,
was
no, no. There,
fishing-
yeah, for sure.
I wasn't trying to say if he pulled right up and was bumping boats. No. I'm saying if he was, got within a couple hundred yards of one another.
Well, the other side of it, They're going to sort that out tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to sort that out because Iaconelli's going to make it now. There's no doubt about it.
Yep. Just something interesting to watch for tomorrow morning because I agree with you. They'll settle it.
And my you know, the other component in this thing right now, the other component in this thing to get on the water right now with Clifford Perch is where it's hard for me to comment on that right now is I don't know their proximity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
There's been so many guys in and out of that area right there. Now look, you come rolling in there and slide up 50 yards on a leader from the first day. I don't care if it's a classic, an elite series, a Tuesday night tournament, or a two-day Tuesday night tournament. What I'm saying is you don't do that.
Yeah.
But there's a proximity and a space situation. You agree with that?
I agree 100% with that.
Be sure to visit booth 1103 for your official 2017 Bassmaster Classic.
I couldn't agree with you more because every situation is different.
Right.
And in my opinion, it's never cool to pull right up on somebody.
Right. The way it looks to me, I'm going to give you an opinion real quick. The way it looks to me, I'd like to hashtag Bassmaster Classic and ask some of our viewers. The way it looks to me is Ehrler's lived in there.
Yep.
Now, I don't even know if he's in there right now. Ehrler's lived in there yesterday and today. It looks like Iaconelli to me pulled in there and is fishing the entire thing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. And that's why I don't think there's any one correct answer. Each situation is different. Because I could argue both ways. I could argue in defense of either one of these guys.
Absolutely.
Because I've kind of been on both ends of it. One thing that I think is very important, you always need to be cautious to jump to conclusions.
Absolutely.
Because you certainly may not know the whole story or the whole situation, and every situation is different.
And with that being said, I do know, and you know, and that was part of his game plan.
Yeah, it was.
That was.
And we have that insight. We do.
You know, here's the thing. If you and I did not know that, if us three did not know that.
Might have a different opinion.
You might have a different opinion right there.
Yeah.
But that going there, if the lower end of Conroe failed him, he almost did it yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
He was like 1 minute away.
He was 1 minute away.
Yeah.
But here's something else. Since we're talking until they go to catching them a little bit better, when you go to an area and you're making the move, and I totally think he planned this move, whether Brent Ehrler was leading or not has nothing to do with it, especially from what we heard from him yesterday. But when you're making that move to make an adjustment and you see 20 boats sitting outside some sticks, smart enough to know there's somebody doing really well in the tournament on the other side of those sticks.
No doubt about it.
And we mentioned how many boats were in that area. There are guys like Randall Tharp, Greg Hackney, Steve Kennedy within 30.
Yeah, we saw that this morning.
Within 300 yards. Yeah, there's only a couple boats.
And here, I want to say one more thing about Ehrler, and this is it. You were sitting in there, Sanders, yesterday. As Ehrler was adamant, he said, "I know right now there's more coming."
Oh yeah. Let's get some more. I mean, the more info, the better. The more you're equipped to make the decision or make a call, or maybe not make a call at all. But Robbie Floyd has been hanging out on that situation right there in the area. Our Triton on the line is going to be Robbie Floyd right now. Robbie, give us a better picture of where these guys are and how close they are.
Well, I'm not in that area, but I heard what y'all were talking about, and I would add, I'm still with Edwin, and he actually did just catch a dink just a second ago, so maybe that theory of when they turn on, they will turn on. We'll see if that happens here in just a second. But if Ike is in the area that Brent is in now, and that was the same area as yesterday, there were 5 people in that area with Brent Ehrler yesterday. I saw Brent go behind Cliff Crochet, literally within 5 or 8 minutes to catch a bass. It wasn't a keeper win to help him yesterday, but I saw him go right behind Cliff Crochet. I saw Aaron Martin literally 70 feet from him in fishing with no problem. Brent Hite worked his way by. And that same Steve Kennedy was also within 80 90 yards from him. So that area has held people, but you're used to seeing those people's one thing. If Brent knows that Ike was down at the bottom of the lake and then he's going to come up in there, then that would be the only thing I think Brent would have a problem with.
Robbie, you've done a lot of the Toyota Texas Bass Classic action there at Lake Conroe. Has that tournament ever been won or near won in this spot right here we're looking at?
North. I didn't get to go up there because as windy as it was yesterday, it was even windier during the TTBC that Brian Thrift won. But I remember the way that the water was fishing that time, he had to have been that far north. So, yeah, the year that Brian Thrift really caught him, he was up north, and I wouldn't doubt it if it was in that area.
Welcome to the Bassmaster Classic Expo, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Appearing right now.
But what's funny is if you look at that image right there, Dave, if you look at that image, it's almost like they have flip-flopped where they were fishing an hour ago.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. So now that we've kind of answered that question, I'm going to go.
Can I add one more thing about Brent Ehrler?
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all were able to talk about this earlier. I talked to Brent, and I rode over with him to the launch this morning. And I was smiling because he didn't think he was going to catch the weight he caught yesterday. And he said, I just had that one big fish. And it was almost like it was an anomaly. He didn't expect it. And I don't know if y'all really talked about that because a lot of people are saying that there's a lot of big fish. But in Brent's mind, he was going up there for the numbers. That's where he knew he could catch fish. Today, he's the exact same way. It was amazing this morning. He was coming to me like, I'm going up there because I think I can catch a limit. And I really don't think the big fish are there. But you're telling me he catches a big one yesterday and today? Big fish are there. But I think he has to be surprised that the size is there. Even if it's one fish a day, the way he talks to me, and he tells me the truth, he was just going there for numbers. And if that big one's sneaking in, that's just a big-time bonus.
That's Bob Floyd right there, Tommy Sanders, bringing it.
Bringing it, as always. Thank you, Robbie, so much. Robbie, we lean on him so much during these days, and he's all over the lake. And I want to ask you guys, I mean, does Brent go right there tomorrow morning?
How could you not?
Well,
he's going there. I got one for you, Tommy.
Okay.
What place is Iaconelli in right now?
Well, he was in 15th place before he caught that 5. He caught that 5.
Yes.
That's going to put him back up, guess where? In the top 5. If that was a legitimate 5 or 5 plus, that's going to put him back in the top 5. He had two fish for 5 pounds.
Does he go straight there tomorrow?
That's a good question, too.
I don't think he would.
If Brent Ehrler's leading? And you haven't started there?
I think he's going to do his morning routine just because he knows the quality from yesterday and practice.
I still think he does his morning routine. I really do.
Yeah.
You don't. You don't. No.
It's going to be fun to watch. That's why we're going to tune in.
Yeah.
I would like to point out one shark in the water.
Okay.
Kevin Van Dam is 11th with 4 fish. One nice kicker, and he's within striking distance.
Let me back up. I think he might do his morning routine a lot quicker.
He'll slide on up the lake a little faster.
But there again, I'm not saying who should do what, because if a guy's in the top 5, if he's in 5th, can you say, well, you really shouldn't go try to win because it's not right?
Right.
Good point.
One guy that we haven't talked about a lot, we don't have a live camera with him obviously, but Steve Kennedy's just been hanging there with 4 fish still in the top 5, and he's not far from Brent Ehrler and where Mike Iaconelli are. He seems more on the main lake side of it, but there are a bunch of islands in the area.
That's a great point. People overlook. It's going to be hard for Brent Ehrler or Edwin Evers. He hasn't really helped himself in the last 5 hours. You get a guy sitting right there at 32 pounds with only 4 fish, make a serious move in a hurry.
Well, and the other, you look at a lot of these guys, it's been, if you look at the numbers today compared to yesterday, I really thought looking at Ehrler this morning and looking at Evers that slowly you were going to see the rest of the field that we had yesterday kind of claw their way back into it. That has not happened.
No.
Lefebvre is the only one that has held serve, that has clawed his way back in the game.
It's amazed me. there are multiple guys that are feeling the same thing that Keith Combs was feeling yesterday.
Guaranteed, man.
I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening.
It's a really weird dynamic right now looking at those standings. Oh, I know what that means, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm going to take you off Brent Ehrler.
Yeah.
Make a move up the lake.
Gonna head right to Brent Ehrler and Mike.
Oh wait, we didn't take you to.
Gonna head over to Mike Iaconelli.
Yeah,
right
there
now.
we go. Now I got it straight. I was thinking about another lake.
There you have it, folks. Good save. Today was a salvage day. You know, it could be a lot worse, let me tell you. Let me see. Decent keeper. Little bit of advice for everybody watching. Always go into a tournament with at least 2 plans, if not 3. A, B, and A, B, and C is the best, but this week I had an A and a B, and B saved me today. I mean, saved me, big time. Save our day. I mean, we're not in winning contention right now, but we still got an hour. You know how close we were to leaving?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
This lake, I'm telling you, this makes fun of me.
Will Reed Gomez please come to
This
the
lake-
entrance of the expo? Reed Gomez.
Every single keeper right now for Iaconelli is clawing him right back into this. If he seriously catches a 16 to 17-inch fish, he's right back in the game for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we had just talked about we haven't seen the people clawing their way back in. He has certainly been the one that has done that this afternoon.
But he's going to have to fill that limit.
This midday pop, that we had yesterday, I mean, he's the only guy that participated in it today. He's the only guy we've seen doing anything in the last hour and a half. The more I see, the less I feel comfortable predicting what's going to happen on the final day of the Bassmaster Classic. I'm scared. I'm running from that now.
Well, you never like a story that you already know the ending.
No. That's why we have the Classic, all right?
We certainly don't know the ending of this one, do we? It's going to be good. The beginning tomorrow morning is going to be good.
No doubt.
And let's say Brent Ehrler is your leader, and Mike Iaconelli is up there close. He starts up that way. Maybe it's all cool that he fishes there, but the worst thing about it to Brent Ehrler may be the fact that Mike Iaconelli brings a lot of spectators with
That's
him.
a really good point.
That was his worst nightmare when we talked to him yesterday.
Would you mind if I fed you an official TH Marine weather report now, Davey?
Come on.
What a great transition that was. Weather for tomorrow, check that out. How about a high of 84, low of 68, cloudy, south-southeast, wind gonna come back up yet again. And that wind's actually going to be coming into this area tomorrow. I went full-blown Jim Cantori right there.
You really did.
I do, I know.
Yeah, welcome
I know.
to day one.
That's
That's what's coming tomorrow. Just looks like day number one.
Yeah, look what's going on over here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, look who's creeped into the top 5, filled his limit. 5th fish for Kevin Van Dam gets him into 4th.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Oh, speaking of clawing his way back, there's a guy with long, sharp claws.
One fish back of the lead.
Will claw his way back into just about every event if you give him just a little chance.
I want you right now to look at that, unofficially, look at that top 5 for tomorrow. I mean, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Be awesome.
Ehrler, Evers, Lefebvre, Van Dam.
Oh my gosh.
Kennedy.
Maybe Ike.
Maybe Ike. One thing I checked on from a marshal, Greg Hackney, guaranteed, confirmed 0 right now.
Wow. Fishing in that general vicinity.
Just north of them.
Oh my.
Of Ehrler and Iaconelli.
That's
gosh.
What am I missing here? What's happened in this tournament?
There's another bracket buster for your fantasy fishing team.
Hey, Ron, here's some advice. Don't interview him later.
Might eat my face off.
Yeah, note to self. Unofficial top 5 right now: Brent Ehrler, Edwin Evers, Dave Lefebvre, Kevin Van Dam, James Elam. And somewhere in there, though, Iaconelli is with. He literally needs a keeper to bump Elam out.
I can't get over Greg Hackney's struggles today. If you had asked at media day, there were 300 plus people there. If you had asked all 300, okay, Brent Ehrler, Greg Hackney, which one will do better in this tournament flipping the north end of the lake?
Hold on a minute. I'm going to throw something better. Flipping in this tournament. I'm looking at some Texas hands right now staring at me saying this. I'm being dead serious. If you'd have looked at me and said, the field or Greg Hackney in a flipping tournament in this, I'm going to tell you better than 50% would have took Hackney.
Yep.
And that's a fact.
Not just flipping, because we all thought Docs were going to be a player they really haven't turned into, but if you would have been even more specific, more people would have said, up north, sticks.
Showed him a picture of what was happening here. Sure.
Ehrler don't even know how to describe the wood up there. He does it too.
No,
Sticks.
actually, I got a note from an old school Bassmaster writer, Mike Jones, said, hey, here in California, we call them sticks, not brush. I'm not kidding.
Did he really?
He said, we also call reeds tules, just an FYI.
One person that hasn't gone to Plan B is Bradley Roy.
Boy, absolutely not. And I suppose, you know, even Cliff Perch made a few little adjustments, at least location-wise.
But he's clawed out a few. One big bite, and he's right back up there he was yesterday.
Well, and reading blogs
washed out.
From Trey Reed from the water covering Bradley, talking about, you know, as soon as we go to a commercial break, he's jumped to the bank and tried to make that work. So he's moved around a little bit, but not for long, and he'll come right back out to the offshore deal.
Got some great shots here. Look at the water color difference, the clarity difference. No big strong rains recently. That little storm that moved through early this morning, I don't think had heavy rain. Just had some severe winds there for a little bit.
Right.
But Cliff Crochet, any body of water we go to looks for this.
Oh, yeah.
Looks for the dirtiest water he can find. Bradley Roy seems to look for the clearer water more times than not, and a lot of other guys. It's your personal preference, what you like to do and what you look for. And you go to your comfort zone and do what you do, and that gives you the best chance to win. It doesn't always suit your style every place we go, but we talked about earlier this morning that Cliff Crochet has been fishing well, just doing what he does, that frog in his hand and a flipping stick. We're going to have a tournament before long, an elite tournament or a classic, something where there's enough. It just seems like the last few times he's had a really good tournament, he just ran out of fish, ran out of water.
Yeah, you're right. He laid it down for us. He says, I'm always looking for the dirtiest water on the lake.
This really is surprising, but it shouldn't be. Yesterday, that south wind, the guys on the lower end of the lake, that clear water, the ones that caught them really had to finesse to catch those fish.
Yeah.
That wind turned around out of the north, it gets even a little tougher than finesse, and that's no bites.
No, yeah. It's exactly been the story. Kind of surprised Cliff hadn't done better today. Got a nice, good start like he had on day number 1. You thought everything was just right on track to be.
He did
exactly the same.
I think it might simply be they've caught the catchable fish right now. Matt Herring, last I checked, didn't have one.
Yeah, same area.
Those two were fishing the exact same area.
What was he said, Matt? They sort of crossed paths coming back into the interview, and jokingly, Cliff says, "Stay out of my way, Grumpy." He said about 3 times, jokingly.
Yeah.
But I think there was a little, urgency in it too.
Yep. He also told Matt Herring, "Stay away from my fish." And Matt Herring said, "I promise you, I won't stay away."
Yeah, that's a
I
promise.
promise you, I won't.
Closer and closer, not that far away. That's where it's going to happen. Minute Maid Stadium, the classic weigh-in, Bassmaster.com. We'll have it all for you right there. Some incredible pictures. You've never seen a weigh-in like this before inside one of the premier baseball parks in America. It's an experience. We loved it yesterday. The crowds loved it yesterday. Expecting a big crowd on hand today. Dave Merschel, get it cranked up, 5:30 Eastern Time. We will see you then.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Eat, sleep, fish. A motto all Skeeter owners live by, with 16 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy, save, fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Visit us for all the details at the Expo Center, booth 1225.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
Now for your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, we call it sea-pecking. In 1958, Dick Seapeck wrote the book. He was the creator of the original adventure tire. Dick Seapeck has a complete line of adventure tires and wheels. As the originator, Dick Seapeck knows what you need. Tires engineered for adventure, traction, reliability, and durability. If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, oh yeah, you're sea-pecking now. Dick Seapeck tires, proudly made in the good old USA.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
It's the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, being brought to you live by Berkley.
One big half hour of coverage left in our Bassmaster Live coverage today of the Geico Bassmaster Classic day number 2. We'll have it for you all day tomorrow, full helping as well. 6 hours of live coverage of the Geico Bassmaster Classic. The final day, the most important day of this World Championship of Bass Fishing. Lake Conroe has thrown us a lot of curveballs, just like you see over there at Minute Maid Stadium. And Who knows what's going to be thrown at these anglers tomorrow? It's been big changes all day long. Change on the leaderboard. We look at the Michael Iaconelli. We'll have a scoreboard up for you. We can tell you the Michael Iaconelli. Those fish we saw had not registered until right now.
Here's what I can tell you is when you see the unofficial top 5 here in a second, welcome to the gun show in Houston. I'm dead serious.
Absolutely. We'll have a big leaderboard in a little bit. Right now, though, we got important business.
Yes.
It's called Yamaha.
Yes, sir.
A little something called Yamaha Taste the Bait. Davey's going to pick her up first, right?
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about a few baits. First, I want to say that when we talked to guys yesterday, they were vague about, they were soft plastics, hard baits, soft baits. They didn't want to give us specifics. But we did talk to Brent Ehrler, and he said that he was flipping soft plastics. And I think it's real important, two things. I'd like for you to talk about the weights. We talked about that a little bit, explain to the folks watching. I'll talk about the baits a little bit. He said he was pitching a soft plastic creature bait. He's a Yamamoto guy, so I just put 2 and 2 together and went and got a few baits from Yamamoto that he's probably pitching, and want to talk about them a little bit. This first one is a flapping hog, probably a dark color. This is a green pumpkin, so maybe don't pay attention to the color of the bait. But real quickly, I'm gonna hold it, and then I need to describe a little bit more with my hand what these baits do. If you see the shape of this bait and the appendages you have makes a little vibration, but a lot of these creature baits, I'm gonna pick it back up in just a sec, but a lot of these creature baits, the key to them is they glide. Baits that have curl tails or flapping crawls like you see on a lot of the baits, these baits don't have. It's similar to a tube bait with a little bit of vibration. When fish are spawning, or especially if they're spawn and post-spawn, these gliding creature baits like this flapping hog are the ones that most guys are going to flip. The other thing is the weight, the sinker. Talk about that a little bit, Z.
Well, the biggest thing, really, if you talk to any of these anglers after the weigh-in yesterday, is a lot of the guys that were successful when they were flipping yesterday, all of these creature baits, whether it's that or a beaver-style bait, whatever they were flipping, all of them were very cautious about talking about their weight. And the main thing about that bait is Davey's sitting there talking about how that thing glides. This isn't a crawfish deal. It's more of a bluegill situation. If you look down in the water and the water's real clear and you see a pod of bluegills, whether it's in brush or it's in sticks or it's in a grass bed, when you spook bluegills, they glide. They just don't swim away like that. They glide, and that's what you're going to get out of those lighter weights. If you put a half-ounce weight onto that bait, it's going to go dunk. And the other side of that is, and Davey was talking about this earlier, all of those creature baits with the lighter weight is a time of year situation. 1/8 ounce, 3/16. The heaviest that we heard was a 5/16, which is generally a pretty light weight. And the main reason why is there's a lot of fish that are in these bushes, or sticks, as Brent Ehrler's going to call them, that aren't hugged down on the bottom. They're suspended, which that right there may not seem like a lot, 6 to 8 inches, but that fish is able to watch that glide and catch it on the way down. And really, by the end of this tournament, somewhere in the guy that wins at least the battle of the flipping tournament, I don't know that that's going to win the Bassmaster Classic, the weight of the lure will be one of the #1 keys.
Well, we talked about that leaderboard that we got coming up for you. Take a look at this top 5 that has now emerged with about an hour and a half, couple hours of fishing left to go, and there's Michael.
Full-blown Bassmaster University right
you
there.
Really did. Thank you, Professor.
Did you see? 5th changed?
Wow.
Like we didn't have a good top 5 a few
Ehrler,
minutes
Evers,
ago.
Lefebvre, Iaconelli, Van Dam.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my.
Everybody take that right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How could you not be watching tomorrow morning?
Michael Iaconelli, the only guy who's been scoring, at least within our view, in the last 2 or 3 hours.
That's incredible.
That's done it for him. Put him right back there. He was out of the top 20 at one point today, having started in the top 5. That is an up and down day right there.
I'm going to say one more thing about Van Dam in there. He is one of the lighter guessers of his weights, correct?
Yep.
He's always likes to go light.
And the guy right above him kind of has an opposite, maybe?
Goes a little heavy.
He goes a little heavy.
He went a little heavy yesterday. I was seeing it slide back out on the water right now. See Edwin Evers, kind of mid-lake with Bradley Roy. Sliding back up lake, Michael Iaconelli, Bassmaster. What, Tommy?
Live.
Hey, thanks.
In Bradley Roy in his first Classic. Standing in 8th place right now. He'll be around for day number 3. Still got one to a limit. Big old fish will put him right there where he can take a peek at that trophy.
And you know, looking at that leaderboard, you know he's thinking, gosh, what has happened today? And one bite, he is in the mix.
Absolutely. Yep. Dead in the mix.
Yep. I'd say he's the only true offshore fisherman that has stuck to his plan and caught fish.
Yeah.
Thought this afternoon was going to be a little better than it has been, obviously. That north wind just really knocked him in the head. Thank goodness the weather is forecast to come out of the south and not so severe tomorrow.
Have started an absolute Twitter storm with the Ike story with Ehrler. They are backing Ike and dissing Ike, left and right.
They are what and what?
People are saying Ike shouldn't be in there, and others are saying, hey, he's planned to go there yesterday. There's half and half.
Okay.
I thought it would. It's a good question. It's a good question.
The area is a half mile by a half mile. There's 9 guys in there, and they're kind of spread out.
And he even said that when he caught that fish. He said, word of advice, have a plan A and a plan B. Plan B is saving me today.
The Bass University and the Ike Foundation booth. We're at the Expo, giving away free tackle boxes to kids. IkeFoundation.org. Thank you very much. Also, we're having an Ike Live after party Sunday night, Lucky's Pub. Be there.
Oh, boy.
Woo! 9 p.m.
So I can just say happy birthday to Teresa at Phoenix Boats? No, I can't say that, can I?
Oh, gosh.
Champions Toast is really cool. It's, the winner of this event. It's a way for the other anglers to kind of honor that champion. I've been at every one, including the one that I won, and it's very special. And it's part of winning this crown is the recognition from your peers. And it's a pretty special deal.
Boy, his body language is a lot different than it was a few hours ago. Wow.
Talking, having a time now.
It was only a couple hours ago he caught one. He said, wow, at least I'm going to get a fish tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, if he catches a big one, he will implode right now.
I want to give a shout out to 154,000 people watching. Thank you very much.
154,000, is that right?
That's what they're
He's
saying.
feeling it right now.
We got about several hundred here, maybe 300 watching right here.
We'll get a free hat. Live the Lance Life at LanceCamper.com. Booth 737.
I'm with you. I don't think it'll be a subdued Mike Iaconelli if he catch a big one now. Yesterday was incredible.
Yeah.
He'd just go.
Who was that guy? Who was that guy?
Yeah.
2701. Try to boat.
I can't imagine him having been shell-shocked thinking that wouldn't happen, that all those big fish wouldn't come. I'm still at a loss for it.
So not him.
Other side is, look how differently he fishes in here compared to Ehrler right now. I mean, he's going. You know, and obviously he's against a clock right now trying to get one or two more critical calls, but it's a different, you know, that's attack mode right there compared to, I mean, Ehrler has
like
picked
they're on them hard
every
lines
twig.
again.
Yep. Be interesting if they're both in that area tomorrow. And
Fish this last
fishing
little patch out here,
one
and then
fast,
we'll
one
make a
slow.
move back to that other area we fished. We'll refish that.
Yes, he's power flipping right
Going.
now.
I mean, going.
It's like a target as big as his boat. He pitches one end, the center, and the other end, covering some water.
Slowly but surely, James Elam has recovered from about a 4-hour start with 0 to have 4 for 13 just on the fringes of the top 5.
Last cast, we'll just make a little move.
Mike Iaconelli going to make a move. Don't know exactly to what extent he's going to move, but we're going to break away. We haven't checked in with Clifford Perch for a while. What a day he had yesterday. Today has been the mirror image, the exact opposite, the non-mirror image of it.
Hasn't moved much, though. Not much at all.
There's your two offshore anglers right there, and they've stayed at it today. I'll
They
give
really
them
have.
that.
Those
They
are
really
two
will.
that have absolutely stuck with their guns.
There's a lot of room to jump into that top 5.
Right.
Bradley Roy, one short of a limit, you know, a 3 or 4 pounder, and he's in the top 5 as
A
well.
lot of room, but we're starting to get starting to run out of time.
We're running out of time, and speaking
hour
of
left.
running out of time, got to be in top 25 to make it to the next day. In 26th place is Alton Jones, is that right?
Wow.
That's
correct.
Unofficially official right now,
Oh,
yes.
let me throw one more out there. Hold on. And we didn't talk about this a lot today, but next to Clifford Perch said, I caught tons of, he goes, I don't even have a number for you guys. Another one of those anglers that said that. Ish Monroe.
Yep, I was looking right at it.
Ish Monroe.
The three of us talked to him yesterday. Said he caught 20-plus keepers.
Maybe 30.
Yeah, he said
Keepers.
way over 20, at least 20.
Spawning,
Everything.
buzzbait.
He said he caught one with his hands, not even a rod. So easy yesterday.
Like 5 different ways he caught fish, just so easy. Frogs, wacky
fish.
worm, just today.
Broke off a giant on top of all of that.
Yep.
Do you think he's talking to himself right now? I mean, he made the comment in the interview, it is easy to catch a limit. He said, I'm after the big ones, but he scoffed off catching a limit.
Knew where 15 to 20 were on the bed that he didn't even go to yesterday,
Right.
he said.
He's
Never
in
went to
real jeopardy of not making the cut.
Well,
As
look
it
at
stands
it.
right now, going
That's-
from that situation to what he's got on his hands now.
That's crazy.
If you look at the 6 guys just outside the cut to make it to tomorrow, you have Alton Jones, Wesley Strader, Matt Herron, Skeet Reese, Aaron Martins, Jason Christie. I mean, those are 6 of the best on the outside looking in.
And 6 who hadn't done that bad on day
I think
number
I
1.
picked every one of those guys to win at some point in some interview this year.
Well, you got to cover your bases, you know.
Probably don't want to enter.
I'm going to plug the website. Go and see a lot of photo galleries. We got day 2 with Iaconelli and Lefebvre and racing into it. We got pictures on the anglers' boats from the Marshalls. You see some KVD shots in there. Day 2 at the Expo. A lot of good images to go to before you go to the weigh-in.
Would have loved to have seen some KVD on the water. Watching it on live today. We'll have it tomorrow, it looks like.
This tournament is our world championship. It's on the biggest stage, but the elite tournaments end up looking very similar to these. You see some guys that you know have caught them for decades, or some young guys that just are studs. It's hard to catch them every day, everywhere we go. It's just really, really hard.
Don't we often talk about how tough it can be when a lake gets predominantly post-spawn? You know, when you have that 2-week span of post-spawn fish, you know, and those big waves.
But here's the weirdest thing about that, Ron. I'll be dead honest with you. Probably the best angler I know that I've ever covered, when they get in this is a weird post-spawny kind of and I always say this, I've said this to Tommy for a dozen years. Alton Jones is the best on earth when they get weird. Cruising.
But still shallow.
But still shallow, yeah.
And he could have caught 40 today, just that 16-inch limit's killing guys. You're throwing back 3-pounders.
But I always say that man is the best at when they turn into kind of zombies. You see them cruising and they look like they're confused where they don't know where to be. He is the best at that. Hackney is so strong at that. There is, when this thing's all said and done, there are stories outside of the guys that are going to be in the top 5 that you will literally scratch your head for the next year.
I was just thinking that, you know, we talk to the guys that are going to be in the top 5. We want to get in their heads and find out how they catch them. Probably don't want to do it this afternoon. I'd love to talk to Hackney, Alton Jones, a few guys, Keith Combs, and just ask them, because if they knew exactly what happened, they'd be catching a few, but
don't get me wrong, I'm going to do that before we do the television show in studio, but I don't know that I'm going to jump right in that swimming pool later today.
No. But it'll be very, very interesting stuff to talk to those guys.
Guaranteed.
One interesting note is there were 9 classic champions in this year's field, 9, and 3 are in the top 25. 6 former classic champs are below the cut line.
Yeah. I agree with what you said with Hackney and Alton Jones being great fishermen, not quite post-spawn. So you got those guys. And then if you had to say, let's say they've just gone immediate, totally post-spawn. Keith Combs? Would he not be like your pick of the best straight up post-spawn fisherman in the country? Especially
him and the guy
Texas.
in 5th. Him and the guy in 5th.
In Texas.
The Boat US Unlimited Towing Membership Raffle drawing is in 6 minutes at the Geico booth. You must be present to win. See you soon.
I got a little bit of news. We're going to cut to 25 tomorrow. There's a tournament going out, about 75 boat tournament, 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yes, sir. It's on their schedule.
You want to get Twitter fired up?
Yeah.
Let's ask about.
Hey, we can find 2 boats. You guys want to fish?
Is it cool?
We can jump in it too.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Should you consider before you?
Davey and I are going to slide up there and flip in bushes up there.
Yeah.
Stir off there in the morning, then get that
Good
shad
idea
spawn with
where
Evers.
I got a good idea of a couple spots to go try. Honestly, is it something you should consider before you go fish a team tournament tomorrow? That the Bassmaster Classic final day is tomorrow.
I know that Tommy and I are not going to play 9 holes at Augusta in a few weeks.
No, probably not.
I know we're not gonna.
No.
I know. At least I'm not going to.
Not even with an early tee time. They're not going to let us do it.
Because they won't let you. But if it became public all of a sudden, would you go?
I would consider it with my 11 boat club. Yeah, I would. It's better I hold my opinion of myself on that right there. I've talked about that a little bit on Bassmaster. Yeah.
Is all that on purpose?
Just take the weekend off.
Yeah.
Come to the Expo, hang with us.
There's some other really
Show you
good
a
lakes
good
not
time.
far away if you just got to go fish a tournament.
Maybe they forget to hit canceled on their website. There's always that possibility.
Now, hey, real quick, Such. It was talked about that there was going to be 2 tournaments out there today. We have not seen a lot of that. Now, you might hear a little bit of it at the weigh-in. But in all, I'm not going to lie, the spectators have been phenomenal.
Absolutely.
You have not seen any of that stuff go on. If there's a 75-boat tournament tomorrow, I don't think there would be, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I've only seen one person fishing that wasn't in the Classic on this water today. That's phenomenal.
Right.
So those rumors might not. They may just be rumors.
Well, you can tell Ehrler has left that primary area that he's lived in all day long. First time really we've seen him do anything but live with a flipping stick in his hand.
He made a short run south, roughly, a 5 to 10 minute run south. Cameraman lost him, but they just picked him back up, so that's how.
A reminder from Geico and Towboat US to all raffle contestants. The Boat US Unlimited Towing Membership Raffle drawing is in 10 minutes. In 3 minutes at the Geico booth. You must be present to win. Geico booth 1632.
Ike's caught 4 since he went up north. He's got 4 or 5? He's got 5. He's really just. Edwin Evers talked about he was practicing earlier. Ike looks like he's doing a little bit of that right now too. He's fishing everything.
May I have your attention, please? Diane Eagerly, please meet your party at the entrance of the Expo. Diane.
We just about run out of our allotted time.
Oh, no.
Bassmaster Live from the Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Let's have a little parade of anglers as we take one more look at Lake Conroe on day number 2. We only have 25 left when we come back tomorrow morning. We only have 1 left after the weigh-in tomorrow, but boy, we got a lot of plot twists and turns to look forward to before all of that. We've had them today. Let's take a look at a big twist and turn of the plot today. The Power Pole replay of the day. Is this it? Is that the play of the day? Is this the play of the day?
Well, I'm going to tell you what it has done. It has saved his day.
Ooh, man.
Really, if you go up to about noon today, Mike Iaconelli was in jeopardy of not even fishing tomorrow. In some way, shape, or form, he has clawed his way back into contention to actually win this. Well, it could be against this guy tomorrow, Brent Ehrler, who has had a phenomenal day, at least up until about 1:30. He made 2 enormous calls. Brent Ehrler definitely in the position for his first Bassmaster Classic victory.
He's catching these fish in an area that everyone said numbers are there, but not quality, and he's certainly caught the quality the last 2 days.
He has disproved that really for the last 2 days. And a lot of people said yesterday, Brent Ehrler, while he was a benefit of a lucky bite, that is not the case right now for him in this tournament.
Absolutely. Tomorrow, what does that bring? It brings weather that looks a whole lot more like day number 1. 1 and 2 have been so different. What will day 3 bring? If we stopped it right now, Brent Ehrler would take an almost 3-pound lead, almost 4-pound lead into that final day. Edwin Evers gunning for 2 classics in a row. Kevin Van Dam trying to be the first guy ever to get to 5. Maybe the only guy who will ever get to 5.
Sanders, I'm going to tell you, Davey Hyde, I mean this. Y'all better get ready for a battle tomorrow. I mean that.
Yep.
Everybody get ready for it. We'll be here 8 a.m. Eastern Time with Bassmaster Live. The weigh-in is coming up. Bassmaster.com, Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. over at Minute Maid Park, just down the street from our position here. In the Classic Expo presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. So many thanks to all of you for joining us as much as you could during this day. We look forward to tomorrow. Zona said it's going to be a master battle tomorrow. You don't want to miss it.
Bassmaster Live.